Good day, everyone. So another day of having additional knowledge for us to be an effective educator in this time of pandemic. Okay, without further ado, I am your moderator for today, Limuel Abellanida. So let's start our webinar with a prayer, followed by the different national anthems of the following countries: India, Philippines, and Thailand. So with this, let's still do the traditional way of singing the different national anthems. Okay, so for the feedback link, so our officers will send the feedback link in our GC and here in our chat box.
Our ever-loving Father, the core of every reason, the source of truth. You who made the earth and the heavens are the ultimate goal of every knowledge seekers, the infinite wisdom, the cause of all that is good. We are truly grateful for this opportunity to gather together as a community despite the challenges we face each day. Yet you remained and gave us strength to carry on the responsibilities of bearing intelligence and using them for better purposes. We now humbly ask you to join us in our endeavor to explore the wonders of life in the world for knowledge's sake, that in whatever we learn today, we become more grounded to you, who is truth, who is love. We pray that you bless our speakers, the fount of your infinite knowledge, that they can share something worthwhile despite the limited time we have. They can channel all they know and share to us the beauty and truth of living as your child. We pray that you guide our participants, the seekers of your boundless knowledge, that they may continue to persevere in the search and be deemed worthy to share what they learn from today's session. Sanctify us, O Lord, not because we are worthy of it, but because we believe in your love and mercy, that at the end of the day, we can take home something that's amazing and meaningful. This we ask and pray through Christ our Lord. Amen.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
ธงชาติและเพลงชาติไทยเป็นสัญลักษณ์ของความเป็นไทยเราจงร่วมใจยืนตรงเคารพธงชาติด้วยความภาคภูมิใจในเอกราชและความเสียสละของบรรพบุรุษไทย
อยู่ดำรงคงไว้ได้ทุกตัว
Mga kababayan, ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas.
Okay, so as our prayer says, we are gathered today for having better purpose in order for us to share our knowledge we've gained from this webinar to our learners. So with this, we must follow the different webinar etiquettes. Okay, so while listening, use our ears and our minds so that we can have and adapt the different sharings that our speakers will be sharing to us. So to continue with our webinar, let us hear a message from our ever dearest, dedicated, and hardworking chairman of IAPES, no other than Dr. Chabalson M. Santos.
Thank you, Sir Limuel. Am I audible, sir? Thank you so much. I would like to greet each and every one of you. Good morning from our friends from India in different parts of the world, and good afternoon to our Filipino delegates who are now participating virtually to this international webinar on physical activity and sports system for all. I would like as well to take this opportunity to thank the following dignitaries for their support in making this event possible. First and foremost, to the National Secretary of the Physical Education Foundation of India, Dr. Piyush Jain, thank you so much for this opportunity to collaborate to your prestigious organization, to our president of Iapes, Dr. Jesus D. Argarin, to our ever supportive chief advisor of the organization, Dr. Kishore Mukhopadhyay, to our member of the International Advisory Board, Mr. Subrata Day, and to our member of the International Board of Directors, Dr. Nita Bando Padhayay. Thank you so much, Madam. In line with the current pandemic, most of the people are locked on the comfort of their home, which physical activity and sports events are not being able to progress or being done by different people. But even though we have those challenges, we're still capable of reinventing those activities from the outside to inside activities. We need to make sure that our immunity is boosted with engagement with different physical activity and sporting event. The aim of this webinar is to give knowledge, insights in regards with the importance of physical activity and sport events to people around the world. It would be properly discussed by our invited resource speakers who would be properly introduced later. I would like as well to thank our participants for their support and patronage to the activities being conducted by Iapes. With that, thank you and congratulations to the working committee of this webinar. With that, I would not take too much of your time because I know all of you are very much excited to hear from our guests, okay, dignitaries, and most especially to our resource speakers who are here today joining us in discussing very fruitful and informative topics. Thank you. Sir Limuel.
Thank you, Dr. Chamelson Santos, for your fruitful and wonderful speech. So for today's webinar with the theme International Webinar on a Stronger, Fairer Physical Activity and Sports System for All, Pre- and Post-COVID Era. With this topic, we are very thankful for still surviving today and attending this webinar presented to us by International Association of Physical Education and Sports Incorporated. So for this time, let us hear an introductory address by Dr. Piyush Jain.
Good morning to everyone and namaste from India. Respected Professor Dr. Joelson M. Santos, Chairman, International Association of Physical Education and Sports Incorporated, Professor Dr. Jesus D. Argarin, President, Iapes, my good friend and the man behind the mission, Professor Dr. Kishore Mukhopadhyay, Chief Advisor, International Association of Physical Education and Sports, and distinguished resource speakers, Dr. George Abraham ji, Dr. Tirthankar Ghosh, Dr. P.P. Ranganathan, and Dr. S. Akila. Both are directly or indirectly associated with Physical Education Foundation of India. Dear friends, I am very happy to be here today at this international webinar where we are discussing significance of a stronger and fairer physical activity and sport system for all. We will also be highlighted post and pre-COVID era implication on this matter. I would like to extend my gratitude to the International Association of Physical Education and Sports Incorporated for collaborating with Physical Education Foundation of India, PEFI, to organize this webinar of great importance. I am honored to be here speaking in front of this amazing audience. Dear friends, there is no doubt about the fact that the situation was very different in the pre-COVID area. The world has gone through a lot of turbulences in the past 2 years. COVID has taught us the importance of immunity, physical fitness, and physical activity. We have learned the lessons the hard way. But the great things about the spirit of human civilization is that it converts every challenge into an opportunity. COVID has taught us the importance of being fit and healthy. Therefore, I think the topic of this webinar is very relatable to the whole world. It is important that people are encouraged to participate in sports with the post-COVID anxieties issues around the world. It is only with regular physical activity and participation in sports one can stay physically and mentally fit and healthy for life. Dear friends, I am very happy to know that many events and workshops related to the importance of physical activity and sports are happening around the world. And International Association of Physical Education and Sports, along with PEFI, organized so many events during this last 2 years in this COVID era. It is important that we find innovative ways in the post-COVID era to encourage more and more people towards physical activity and sports. We all know that sports, physical activity, yoga can play a significant role in the lives of people who are suffering from mental health issues as an effect of post-COVID anxiety. As an educator, our role at this moment should be to encourage, support, and educate our population on the importance of free talk on mental health and ways to overcome such issues. I'm sure that this event will promote more and more awareness on these issues amongst the masses. I also request to all the participants, those who are listening here and watching on Facebook and other social media means, that teachers have always played an important role in shaping the society around the globe and guiding it through rough times. It is again on such occasion when all of us, especially from physical education and sports fraternity, should come out and bring back society towards health and wellness. I would like to congratulate the organizing committee, volunteers, and the whole team, that those who are directly or indirectly involved in organization of this webinar. You all have made commendable efforts. As a physical education professional, I don't see this event just as another webinar, but I see this is a soothing changes that is happening with our academic ecosystem and within the fraternity of physical education and sports sciences, where we are willing to work on the issues which impact our society. Dear friends, since last 2 years, International Association of Physical Education and Sports, under the able leadership of Dr. Joelson and Santosh, along with lots of people from India, like Dr. Kishore Mukhopadhyay, Dr. George Abraham, Dr. S. Akila, and organized lots of programs for our fraternity. It's a time to say thanks to all those who are directly and indirectly associated to giving the information, to giving the knowledge to our society. Once again, I'm thankful to you. On behalf of the Physical Education Foundation of India, I extend my best wishes to all the participants. I'm sure you will all have an amazing time throughout this webinar and would gain some positive and valuable insight by the end of this event. I would conclude with extending my best wishes to to all of you. Thank you once again. Thank you all.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Piyush Hain, with your introductory speech, which is very meaningful. So we are very honored to have webinar like this every week because of the undying work of our officers to be led by our chairman, but also the different officers, our president and the vice president and the other officers. So for this time, let us hear a welcoming address to be led by our president, Dr. Jesus D. Argarin.
Thank you, Sir Liwell. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. A very pleasant day to all. Thank you for being with us today. To all our distinguished guests, Physical Education Foundation of India, National Secretary, Dr. Piyush Hain, Physical Education Foundation of India President, Dr. A.K. Upal, in the International Association of Physical Education and Sports members, officers, and international board members, to our Chief Advisor, Dr. Kishore Mukhopadhyay, to our International Association of Physical Education Chairman, the energetic Chairman, Dr. Jewelson M. Santos, who've been diligently supporting us since the beginning, as well as the participants who never miss all the events. We extend our welcome. On behalf of the International Association of Physical Education Officers, I sincerely thank and acknowledge every one of you who extended help to us for making this international webinar on a stronger, fairer physical activity and sport system for all on a pre and COVID-19 era. To all the expert speakers, thank you for sharing all your experience and specialization to this momentous event. Trust us, all of this would be just a dream if not for your eminent support. Lastly, without taking any more time, okay, so let us listen to the very interesting topics from our guests. Enjoy and welcome. Back to you, Sir Limel. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Jesus D. Argarin, for the very welcoming message. So, Dr. Jesus Argarin is correct. Ano po, without you, our members and the officers, so this webinar will not be happen. So to continue our program, let us hear a message from our Chief Advisor, Dr. Kishore Mukhopadhyay.
Hello. Hello.
Hello, sir. Good morning. Good afternoon.
Yes, sir,
Good morning, everybody. May I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Please allow me to share my screen. So good morning, everybody from India, and good afternoon, those who are participating from different locations of the world. Respected Dr. Joelson M. Santos, Chairman, International Association of Physical Education and Sports Incorporated. He is constantly doing a lot of work to promote physical education and sports globally and take a lot of pain and playing a pivoting role for this association. Thank you, sir. Respected Dr. Piyush Joy, our National Secretary, Physical Education Foundation of India. He is also doing a lot of work for promoting physical education and sports, as well as the health literacy, physical literacy throughout the nation, and as well as for abroad people also. So thank you, sir, for taking the lot of pain for serving for the nation and the world. Respected Professor Jesus Argarin, our resourceful president, all the participants, respected Dr. Nita Bandyopadhyay, member, International Association of Physical Education and Sports Incorporated, all the distinguished resource speakers, all the team member and family member of International Association of Physical Education and Sports Incorporated, all the family members of Physical Education Foundation of India as well, and ladies and gentlemen. So today's, my screen is visible, madam? Hello?
Yes, sir, it's visible.
So today's topic is stronger, fairer physical activity and sports during pre and post-COVID era. So it is an example throughout the world that due to the effect of 2 years of pandemic scenario in all the sphere of our life, sports is not exceptional for that. So those who are participating and performing a good performance in the sporting area, they may not able to perform a same amount of work output in the coming years, because during these two years of pandemic, they are getting the less opportunity to practice their daily schedule. So this is a tremendous impact upon them also. So in the last Olympic, we have seen very few records have been created. So this is an impact. And what are the role to minimize this performance level? Minimizing the continuity of the performance level. The concept of this webinar is an important one. The fairer and stronger physical activity and sports. So two aspects is there. When an athlete is performing in an international competition, he is trying to expect until he or she is trying to exert same amount of work output as she or he is experienced in before the pandemic situation. So this is a alarming for us, because due to the pandemic, his or her performance may not be the same. So he or she has to build a stronger concept and stronger performance for getting the same benefit and in a fairer way. So this is the main concept. The word, what does the word stronger mean? So if the stronger is a word which is applicable in all sphere of life, whether you are stronger in mental ability or not. So stronger is associated with psychological aspect as well. In case of physical performance parameters, the stronger can be divided into 3 heads. In my conception, it is related to the strength, it is related with the speed, and it is related with the endurance. If a performer or you can say marathon runner is performing a good, you can consider him as a stronger athlete. So stronger is a broader concept, and strength is the basic form of endurance as well. So I want to start with the strength. What is strength? It is a psychophysical ability that defines performance and created by muscle tension, enabling to overcome relatively high resistance. The force is produced by the muscles, which create movement and win over resistance with the help of the joints and system of the bones. In the thickening of the muscle, the period of tension plays a crucial role, while the measure of tension depends on the number of stimulated motor units and relates to the magnitude of force exerted. So strength is dependent upon the type of muscle fiber as well as the recruitment of the motor unit and the force of contraction of the particular motor unit. So these are the 3 aspects of the strength. Now this is related with the energy system as well. Energy is an energy for absolute speed is supplied by the anaerobic lactic pathway. The anaerobic without oxygen or lactic without lactic energy system is the best challenged as an athletic performance crop speed between 30 to 60 meters while running at 95 to 100% of maximum. These speed component of anaerobic metabolism lasts for approximately 8 seconds and should be trained when no muscle fatigue is present. Now, what are the components of strength? There are several components of strength. Depending upon the force and velocity, the strength can be divided into several heads. When the velocity will be more and the force is less, then it can be considered as a speed. When the velocity is moderate and force is also moderate, then it can be considered as a speed strength. You can see the graph over here. When the velocity is less and the force is more, then you could consider it as a power. When the velocity is less than the power and more than the force is more than the power, you can consider it as the strength speed. When the velocity is minimum but the force is exerting maximum, then you can consider it as a maximum strength. So depending upon the velocity and force, you can divide it, the strength aspect of an individual in these five categories. Besides this, there are so many nomenclatures are there: agile strength, explosive strength, relative strength, speed strength, starting strength, functional strength, in this way. Clear? So this is actually depend upon the type of contractile property of the muscle. There are two types of muscles. First one is the slow twist muscle fiber, and second one is the fast twist muscle fiber. The metabolic properties of this muscle fiber is that the slow twist muscle fiber is dependent upon the oxidative muscle fiber. That means the slow twist the metabolism of this muscle fiber takes place in cytoplasm of a cell as well as the mitochondria of a cell. It is also of two types. It can be divided in two phases: glycolysis and Krebs cycle. And if we go for the first twist muscle fiber, this is only what the cytoplasm of the cell. And this is also of two types, that is oxidative glycolysis and glycolytic. So fast twist fiber can further divided into two categories: that fast oxidative fiber and fast glycolytic fiber. Clear? And depending upon the type of muscle fiber, you can say type 1, type 2A, type 2B, like that. And depending upon the type of neuron, in case of slow twitch muscle fiber, you can get the alpha 2 neuron. In case of fast twitch muscle fiber, you will see the alpha 1 and alpha 1 motor neuron. And the size of motor neuron is small in case of slow twitch muscle fiber, and the length and the size of muscle fiber is large in case of the fast twitch muscle fiber, because it requires a larger contraction of a major group of muscle fibers. So these are the metabolic consideration and energy pathway by which we are able to perform in the competitive situation, depending upon the nature of activity. Now, the motor unit requirement for performing any sorts of activity, it is depend upon the recruitment of the motor unit. How much motor unit is involved to a particular contraction is determining your strength component. Motor neurons required in order to size principle is there. Smallest alpha motor neurons, alpha 2, which belong to slow twitch, recruited fast. Largest alpha motor neuron, or alpha 1, which belongs to fast twitch, recruited last. So type 1 muscle fiber, the requirement when the intensity of activity is more or heavy, then the type 2 muscle fiber, you can see in the graph the type 2 muscle fiber, and the type 1 is the moderate type, and when the heavy muscle activity is performed in the shortest period of time, the number of activated motor neurons will be more. So these are the recruitment of the motor unit performing any sorts of muscle contraction, so for getting the strength. Now these are the biomechanical aspect types of muscle fiber, which I have already discussed, so I will skip. From a physiological perspective, strength is the ability to activate motor neurons and their attached muscle fibers, together called motor unit, to generate the force necessary to activate a specific outcome. To achieve a strength-based goal, it is important to first decline the specific type of strength required for success, and then design an exercise program to develop that strength. So you have to be more specific for particular type of strength which is required for your performance as well. So depending upon your performance, depending upon the requirement, your design of exercise should be like that. Now, 5 factors that determining strength. If 2 athletes are giving same kind of training, same kind of nutrition, same kind of psychological counseling, still they are unable to exhibit the same kind of result. Output may not be the same. Why this is so? Because you are giving the same type of training, you are giving the same type of nutrition, you are giving the same type of mental boosting, but still they are unable to perform in the same ratio. Why this is so? Because there are several factors that they are operating in this determining the strength aspect of an individual. First one is the genetical aspect, by which you born with some sort of percentage of these muscle fibers. All these muscle fibers are there in human body. There are about 30 types of muscle fibers, but we are generally discussing about the 3 types of muscle fiber. But the percentage of the muscle fiber may vary due to the genetical endowment of an athlete. So this is an uncontrolled factor, but you can change the muscle fiber type depending upon the nature and type of training. Then second aspect is the training, third aspect is the gender, fourth aspect is the age, and fifth aspect is the adrenaline. So these are the 5 aspects which are playing a major role for your strength performance. And then what is the role of adrenaline? As a part of the body's innate fight or flight response, adrenaline is a hormone secreted by the adrenal gland during high stress situations. Adrenaline jumpstarts the heart rate and contracts the blood vessels throughout the body to increase blood flow to the muscle, although the effect may be temporary. So adrenaline is a hormone which is playing a major role to elevate your blood pressure and elevate your blood flow, because it is very much necessary to serve the oxygen, to deliver the oxygen, to deliver the nutrient to the working muscle, because energy is required. Without energy, we are unable to do anything. And from this oxygenated blood, we are getting the oxygen to burn the aerobic process of metabolism. Otherwise, we are not getting the enough amount of ATP or enough amount of ATP to perform well. So this is an important aspect, and this adrenaline is playing a vital role during this pandemic scenario. There are so many persons, almost 3 times the psychological percent are increased because people are worried about their future. The students are worried about their future because we are going to give some sort of interview. So many interview will be there. There may not be the same batch. They may be the senior. So the people who are taking the interview, they thought that they are much more knowledgeable than those persons because they are the pandemic batch. So this is a cause of tension as well. So adrenaline plays increase the surge of adrenaline, or the spark of adrenaline depends upon 2 aspects. First one is the hormonal aspect, where the magical role takes place in our mind through the neurotransmitter, and through HPA, adrenaline, hypothalamus, pituitary, and adrenal axis, these hormones are playing a major role to increase the adrenal hormone, and which is termed as a stress hormone for the performance. And it will create some sort of tension, anxiety, or stress, and sometimes it will create that distress as well. When you are unable to manage the stress, it will be a distress. So this is one aspect. And when you are performing some sort of activity in the playing area, that is also stress. But in that case, the adrenaline will circulate more depending upon the neural mechanism. Epinephrine, sympathetic and parasympathetic mechanism will be playing over there to increase the secretion of the adrenaline. So 2 aspects of working over there, and this exercise aspect is much more beneficial effect to control the neurotransmitter over the brain. Now the second aspect which I have discussed want to discuss, that is the speed ability. The ability to achieve high velocity or explosive force applied to a specific task. It also involves acceleration, deceleration, redirection, and moving through the distance in shortest possible time. The speed is a combination of reaction time, acceleration, maximum pace speed, and speed endurance. These are the all area component of the speed component. And these the determining factor of the speed is depend upon 2 aspects. That is the length of stride length, and then the number of stride or frequency of stride. In a 100 meters race, how much stride you are taking and what is the length of your stride is the determinant factor of your speed component. This is the physical determinant factor. When we are going to the physiological determinant factor, there are ATP system will be operating there. The speed is depend upon reaction time, acceleration ability, mobility, explosive strength, strength endurance, and technique. Morphological structure of muscle fibers, neurological, neuromuscular coordination, phosphagen stores and metabolic processes, elasticity of the muscle, technique, and psychic factor playing a lot to determine your speed component of an individual. So these are the important aspects as well for getting the better result or making you stronger enough. So the stronger for getting stronger in the in competitive situation, in case of sports, you have to depend upon the strength, speed, and endurance component. And it is also related with your performance pattern, nature of activity. And now the second part is that when you are unable to do that, which you are used to do in your pre-pandemic scenario, you may face some sort of problem. And in order to mitigate that problem, you can able to do some. You may take some sort of advantage from unfair means, through unfair means. And this is a detrimental condition, because you are going to exhibit the same kind of performance, but you are not getting the enough opportunity. So what to do? We should take some sort of drugs. This is a detrimental and alarming for us also. So in order to promote fair play in the post-pandemic scenario, which in India, it will start from 16th of this month, and from other, I think from December onwards, it will be as usual regular. So fair play usually refers to the sportsmanship. Fair play refers to all participants having an equitable chance to pursue victory and acting towards others in an honest, straightforward, and a firm and dignified manner, even when others do not play fairly. Also used more widely to mean fitness and justice in context to other games. So why is fair play important? To ensure fair play in the playing field, everyone involved in a sports must support the principle of the fair play, fairness, accomplishment, integrity, and respect. These are the 4 pillars. The fair play provides everyone with the opportunity to do their best in a competitive scenario. There are a few aspects are there for this fair play. That is the respect to the other players, opponent. This is the first and foremost aspect. Then the friendship. Loser and winner, they are the friend. So this is also an important aspect to promote the fair play competition as well. Then the team spirit. In order to build a better team spirit, this fair play plays a lot. And with the help of this team spirit, you can able to promote a fair play in the competitive scenario. Then the next one is the care of the other athlete, which we have already experienced. That is the new concept developed. That is the concept of togetherness. Because why this is so? And in case of the high jump, this is the first time we have experienced that the first position is divided between the 2 different athletes of 2 different countries. This is a greater example of this togetherness, because it is due to the care of the athlete who is injured after getting the same covering the same height. So this is an important aspect as well. Now, excellence and joy is also there. So ensuring the ethical, you have, in order to promote the fair play, you have to depend upon 5 ethical principles. First one, doping. You have to minimize the doping aspect. You should not take doping, and you have to maintain the athletic passport. And you will able to perform the same ratio. It is the duty of the coach and the parents to educate his or her athlete or sons and daughters that not to take any kind of drug by getting enough advantage through unfair means. So this is a major issue also. And for that reason, World Anti-Doping Agency is the international independent organization created in the year 1999 to promote, coordinate, and monitor the fight against doping in sports in all its forms. So that concept is also playing well. You have to remind that thing to go in a scientific and systematic manner so that the fair play can be promoted and everybody has the equal opportunity to compete over there. So you should not take any types of drugs to increase your performance, because it is detrimental for your health as well. The 100-meter sprint records of Flojo, Florence Griffith Joyner, and Jackie Joyner is still with us. Nobody is able to breaking that record till now, but they are no more. Why this is so? This is the effect of drug. So it is a potential danger for an athlete's health. Then next one is the gambling. So sports gambling, you have to stop it. Least between illegal, irregular, and unregulated betting. It will disturb the fair play concept as well. So this is the second concept. The third concept is amateurism, focused on the professional aspect, professional athlete. So amateurism, they may face some create some sort of problems. So this, in order to reduce that problem, focus on the professional aspect as well. So next one is the violence, least between the aggression and violence, taking forceful means to your ends. Why this is so? Aggression is there in the sports performance, but you have to channelize it in a correct way. Otherwise, violence may occur. And why you are too much aggressive? It is depend upon your genetical endowment. Not only that, you are following some international heroes, and they have behaviors, and you have to exhibit that in your playing scenario to show your supremacy. This is the root cause of this violence. So you have to think that that thing also. And the last is the deception. You can spot how can sport be morally educated when we teach children to decide fainting, dumbing are just good tactics, right? But it's deception also part of cheating, breaking a rule. So don't try to break the rule. Be within your rule. And two types of deception can be found. That is within the rules, constructive skills of the sports, and definition strategical deception. You are decepting within the rules, and definitional deception going against the rule. You are breaking the rule. So these are the aspects which are the playing, which is the barrier for this fair play. And last up, I want to conclude with that it is the fair play seen as the internal logic of the sports that provides the rationale for the distinguish good from the bad practices, permissible from impermissible actions. Fair play, the basis of logic of the sports, is also the foundation stone of the ethics of the sports. So this is in short all about my discussion. With this, I may conclude. Thank you, everybody. Thank you very much. I hope a grand success of today's conference. And these are my references. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Dr. Kishore Mukhopadhyay, for the knowledge you have shared and imparted to us. With your sharing, sir, we are now thinking of the best strategies and activities to discuss with our learners for them to have a stronger and fairer physical activity to fight and to face this catastrophic event that we have now and that we are now facing. So again, thank you, Dr. Kishore. So let us have another message from one of the members of the Board of Directors of Iapes. Let us welcome with love and enthusiasm, Dr. Nita Bandopadhyay.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much. Very good morning and afternoon to all. Respected Professor Jewelson M. Santos, the Honorable Chairman of International Association of Physical Education and Sports Incorporated, Professor Jesus D. Argarin, the Honorable President of Iapes, Dr. Piyush Jain, the General Secretary and National Secretary of PEPI, and Dr. Kishore Mukhopadhyay, the Chief Advisor of Iapes, and today's esteemed speaker, Dr. S. Akila, Dr. P.P. Ranganathan, Dr. George Abraham sir, Professor Tirthankar Ghosh, and our esteemed member of concluding sessions, Mr. Mark Anthony, Mr. Subroto De, Dr. Ginna, and Mr. Limuel. It's really a great endeavor to conduct continuously the series of webinars on different themes and issues in physical education and sports. The theme of today's webinar is a stronger, fairer physical activity and sport system for all, pre and post COVID-19 era. It's indeed an important and relevant issue especially in the present situation. The pandemic has impacted every aspect of our life, such as education, economy, wellness, even our movement. It seems difficult to remain active. Now it's an important issue to maintain wellness through stronger, fairer physical activity and sports system. On the same theme, a webinar was conducted in Geneva, Switzerland. I hope today's esteemed speaker will throw light on how and what would be the physical activity and sports system for all in new normal. Before I hand over the platform to the moderator, I would like to congratulate our dynamic young Honorable Chairman, Professor Jivelson M. Santos, and all members of IAPES for planning and conducting this webinar. I wish the webinar a grand success. Thank you. Thank you all.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Nita Badupadhayay, for the very informative message. So to formally start with our webinar, let us meet our speakers. So let us have our first speaker. Okay, again, the feedback link will be sent to our chat box and to our GC. Thank you. So let us have our first speaker. She is the Assistant Professor of the Department of Physical Education, Bharat Chayar University, a Managing Director, Bharat National Journal of Physical Education and Exercise Science, an Ambassador of Swachh Bharat Clean Campus Initiative, Digital Action Plan 1717, Bharat University, Tamil Nadu, India. A recipient of Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam Award for Scientific Excellence. Let us meet our first speaker, Dr. S. Aquila. Hello, ma'am. Okay. Good.
Yeah. Hope I'm audible. Hope I'm audible.
Yes, madam, you're audible, madam.
Dear Jewelson, sir.
Yes, madam, you're audible.
Yeah, thank you. So I'm very happy and fortunate to share this honored desk with the 3 countries, people from the eminent personalities from 3 countries. So at this juncture, I would like to just a minute. At this juncture, I would like to submit my heartfelt acknowledgements to Professor Dr. Jewelson, who had been instrumental in setting this show to a great height with combining 3 eminent Asian countries who are in this developmental process after post-COVID. I also congratulate Dr. Piyush Jain for being instrumental in this, being the pillar of strength of the organizing this wonderful program. I congratulate and thank Professor Dr. Jesus, who had given the welcome address. I also submit my salutations to all the dignitaries who had been speaking till then, especially Nita ma'am and all those. And whatever blessings I get from this, after this presentation, I submit to my humble teacher, Dr. Mrs. Saravana Prabha. With this introductory note, I am here to join. I have joined you all to talk about the serious issue which is running behind during this COVID era. So this is a tremendous situation where we seek a lot of awareness on how to handle the new normal. So I appreciate the whole team who had chosen this topic, a stronger, fairer physical activity and sports system. So I will be highlighting on how to habituate physical activity. This is a recent post-COVID realization. Almost in every house, every member's mind, the COVID has set a realization to take care of their own fitness. So as a synopsis, I have 30 slides on a fast brush up of these concepts, like what are the COVID challenges and the lockdown effects. I'll be suggesting few strategies to fight or escape COVID. Then I'll be talking about physical activity during COVID-19 lockdown and the different practices and strategies across various countries. And whichever country had taken real initiatives, both in home as well as in school setup, so that in future we may prevent the happenings of health barriers by maintaining our physical activity. So today I'll be talking to you about how we have to habituate physical activity and what are the different practices across various countries. And finally, I'll be highlighting the Indian traditional practices and strengths which has been practiced since ages across various countries. So the need of the hour is lockdown has impacted us very badly. Lockdown has impacted almost, it has shook the whole world. It has stumped the whole world to shock. We have never heard a term called lockdown. We have never heard a term called, unless until we read about diseases in our books, we have never heard about complete lockdown and the impact which lockdown has made on personal, every individual's life is unexplainable. In spite of all these pandemic harassments which we have went through, we are still capable of coping it up. But we should always have few things in mind. What are the new normal requisites? Are we all prepared to face the new normal? Are we really capable of preventing the contagion corona? Are we going to set up a safe school for our children? Because we have went through many waves, and the next wave which is expected is targeting the children. That is what we say. We read a lot. So are we really prepared to meet all these challenges? So what are all the new normal prerequisites to face this new to face corona, or to fight back corona, or to build resilience and come out of the setback and make it a big boom, so that the whole country, the whole world develops. So what can we do? We have to understand the new normal challenges. What all could be the new normal challenges, especially in the point of a fairer physical activity? Are we all really committed for a physical activity? Are we all really committed to a habitual everyday eat, sleep, exercise routine? If we are committed to that, we can definitely change our lifestyle. We can definitely change this path, the tremendous unhealthy or unhappy path which we are undergoing now. So survival of the fittest is the lesson which is taught by corona. Many people, many rich people who had been who had so much of wealth, so much of facilities, so much of accessibility to so much of advanced technologies, all the medical facilities are now no more. So COVID did not leave any stone unturned. It didn't think about whether the person is good or bad. It doesn't know. COVID did not have any emotions. COVID did not have any sympathy or empathy on anybody in this world. So everybody should be able to cope forward and jump over the setback, should build in resilience both physically and mentally. So this need of the hour states that survival of the fittest. Only fit people can survive. So how are we going to do that? Yeah, these are the simple outline of the challenges during and post-lockdown. We had environmental challenges. Dear friends, there is a prediction from the science background that the next biggest lockdown is going to be because of the climatical change, the climatic crisis which we are going to face in the near 1 or 2 decades is going to be the next biggest challenge. That is a prediction by many international organizations. So the environmental challenges are always there, but are we really capable of meeting that, especially after post-COVID? How are we going to tackle this contagion COVID? The dependent population is really at high risk. Who are the dependent population? Children who are less than 15 years and elders who are above 60 years. They are the dependent population. In this juncture, I'm also happy to share that India has attained its demographic dividend. A demographic dividend is where the dependent population is very less and the independent population is high, so that the healthy, wealthy, economically developed, fully like a full facilitated country can evolve. But then this was the dream of our former president, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam sir, but COVID has set his dreams down. But now, if we still have or ensure that habituating physical activity is a must in everyday's life, not only India, every country can come up in life, can reach the maximum, can be beneficial, can be nature friendly. We can ensure that we leave a better place for the next generation, our kids and our grandkids. That is possible only when we understand our own fitness needs and in par with the environmental challenges. The next important challenge which we went through was the psychological challenges. We had a fear of getting COVID. We had a fear of how we are going to manage this economical crisis. We had a fear of being locked inside the houses. We had a fear of sustenance. We went into depression. Almost all of them had the anxiety and stress because of COVID. So all these can be because of the pessimism. So this pessimism, the negative thinking, has to be changed or converted into optimism. If we start thinking positively and if we take real-time measures, building up our confidence and managing our preoccupied mind, definitely we can build our resilience to fight this COVID. But physical activity is the only solution which can help us achieve this. So the physiological changes, we have to build in a strong immune system and an efficient respiratory system. See, during this COVID, initial days of this COVID, many people from various countries had been calling people in India to find out the traditional healthy practices, dietary habits, and the traditional healthy practices, the Indian medicines, the Indian exercise systems, yoga. For all these informations, people had been calling Indians. The reason is these are all the natural side effect free methods. So the physiological challenge predicted in the post-COVID era, especially in a school setup for the children, for the dependent population, is going to be a challenge. So if we ensure everyday physical activity practice, we can definitely overcome the psychological challenge. The physical challenges, again, personal hygiene, the SOP guidelines, the COVID guidelines to be followed by institutions and at home, in the public, the healthy habits, eating patterns, all these have to be taken care. The sociological challenges like climate change, hostile neighbors, the adjustment, in our state, that is Tamil Nadu, is one of the top states in the country, India. And in our state, the education minister of the school has, now that the schools have started reopening, the education minister has ensured that the emotional well-being of children after they come to school is very essential. So first 2 weeks of schooling will not be on book learning or any other regular activity, but then it will be on ice breaking. It will be concentrating on building up a resilient or immune respiratory system, and then activities related to mental well-being and the interest and happiness and secured feeling to visit the school. These have been planned by the Tamil Nadu government, and even the Indian government has come out with a lot of guidelines on disciplining children without breaking hearts. In this generation, we are all stigmatized with the separation anxiety of children. We are all concerned about the contagion COVID after the post-COVID era, while going back to school. So the Indian government has set up a lot of guidelines, in which the most attractive guideline is the social distancing with the physical activity. That is the important feature of the Indian guidelines. So it is not only isolation, but also they still give due care to physical activity. So the lockdown effects, ruling out the lockdown effects of this generation children, it is a tremendous job. Children have lost their routines. Even we, almost everybody, are not into our routine pattern. We have started taking time for ourselves. We have started understanding the bodily changes, the physiological changes in our own systems. So the laziness, tiredness, sloth, procrastination, and sleep disturbances, eating disorders, mood swings, a collapse in routine, gastritis, constipation are all evident because of this lockdown. So while going back to normal, while entering the new normal, physical activity into the daily routine can definitely help us overcome all these things. So what are the strategies to escape COVID? The first and foremost important strategy to escape COVID is staying physically fit. And nowadays, because of the techno addiction, the gadget addiction, the classrooms have come into the cell phones. So mental alertness, the recent study states that the span of attention of a child, you all know that in schools and colleges, we have a 1 hour slot or a 45-minute slot or a 40 minutes slot for each subject. And the next 40 minutes, with a break or without a break, we keep changing the subjects. So why was that 40 minutes fixed up? It was because of the span of attention of children of that particular age. But now, because of the techno addiction and the techno dependence, in fact, the gadget dependence, either for learning or passing time or for engaging meaningfully, the mental alertness have come down. The span of attention has gone to 7 seconds. Imagine, for an adolescent, if the span of attention is 7 seconds, how will the child cope up with the learning challenges which they have to undergo? Nearly 1 to 2 years of a educational break. After that, the children are getting back. So if they go in with a 7-second span of attention, imagine the trouble the teacher is going to face. So to rule out that, the mental or brain training through physical activity is important. So we have to take care of the emotional intelligence of students. We have to ensure being open-minded, not only for children, everybody should be open-minded. We have to initiate a mindful practice. We have to be cognitively flexible. We have to adapt to the environment easily so that we build resilience. The resilience is the ability to come back fast from a setback. So if we follow the government guidelines, because people in a high order hierarchy has devised many strategies with a lot of research and practical possibilities. So going by the government, obediently accepting the rules and regulations and the guidelines of the government will definitely help us accept the change. We have to change, we have to be adaptable, we have to change as early as possible to that particular situation. And we have to stick on to the indigenous practices, because our own indigenous talents, whether it is Thailand or Philippines or India, we have our own traditional Indian homebound practices. We have to stick on to that for a healthy nation. And then importantly, we have to train our bio clock. We have to detrain the bad habits and train our bio clock with a new habitual practice, including physical activity. That is the order of the day. See, when we come across the publications, this was during the COVID time. So Harvard Medical School has recommended like anything. It is one of the one-stop solution most of the Indians went through during COVID era and even continuing during the post-COVID era. So what is the revolution which has happened? You know, the field of physical education initially started when we study the ancient history or a Greek history of physical education. We all knew that to set up a team of warriors to fight back or to protect or to hunt for food, these were the background why physical education evolved. But then it transferred into a drill master, wherein now it has been understood as a sports scientist. So look at the revolution or evolution of the field of physical education. Now we have got another opportunity to understand the importance of physical educators and sports scientists across this globe. What are all the revolutions which has happened during and post-COVID, especially in point of physical activity? There was enormous awareness on taking in a nutritious, side effect free, fresh, green leafy vegetables, and then sport and exercise nutrition were into great investigation. These are all the research areas wherein a lot of people studied the behavior of COVID patients with the vegetarian and non-vegetarian diet during COVID, with physical activity and without physical activity during and post-COVID, to prevent COVID and to manage COVID. So the physical activity has been a crucially important study during the past 2 years, especially during the pandemic time. So with this enormous awareness on managing COVID through healthy habits, especially through physical activity, New Zealand has brought out, I actually, in the synopsis I said I'll be discussing about few countries, and New Zealand has studied a research by Elaine in 2021, recently published in the month of February in the Frontiers in Psychology. They have studied the changes in physical activity pre, during, and post New Zealand. And they say that there's a lot of awareness created among the rank racing world. We are all running a rat's race and racing something or the other. Almost 20, out of 24 hours, we keep working physically and mentally at least for 20 hours a day. So while studying this pre, during, and post-lockdown COVID-19 restrictions and the changes in physical activity pattern, we find many people have got awareness on managing their physical fitness. That's good. But then, is there a possibility for all of us to continue the same even after the post-pandemic? Because we had 2 years of backlog work, we had 2 years of deficit in our own performance, the professional development, the family development, and the economical barriers too. Will we be able to manage the same? Whatever awareness we got, whatever practices we started, will we be able to continue that even after post-COVID? So this is also one biggest challenge. Many parents started stopping. They've stopped the idea of sending children back to school because of the public gathering, because of the huge mass. So homeschooling has become the trend, especially in countries like Norway or Scandinavian countries. Homeschooling has become the order of the day. They are much concerned about the safety of the child rather than the education and well-being or the development of the child. So this barrier has to be broken. Even if children are homebound schooling, physical engagement, physical activity engagement is a must. Whether the children come back to school or they still continue homeschooling, the educational gap which has happened, the consciousness on filling up the educational gap should always be there on ensuring everyday physical activity. So now I'm going to highlight what all best practices India had during the COVID time. Especially Physical Education Foundation of India has done a tremendous exemplary job. You know, in spite of COVID, Dr. Piyush Jain and team connected almost all horizons of the world. They brought in so many workshops, so many Facebook programs, so many live programs. And it would have crossed definitely more than 1,000. So such a tremendous job. At this time, I pay my salutations to Physical Education Foundation of India, who spent everything from their own pockets and did a grand service to this country in creating an awareness of engaging meaningfully. You know, attending those webinars and such orientation programs were really a stress buster or a really a divergent fact, like it diverted people's mind out of the fear and sickness of COVID. Apart from just attending the webinars, they conducted a lot of programs, especially Ministry of Ayush, that is Ayurveda, Unani, Siddha, homeopathy, all these yoga, all these 5 important traditional practices of India had evolved again. They brought in all possible medications which had nearly no side effects. You know, yoga is such an art. Even doctors and the frontline workers were given this yoga training, especially pranayama, because we all know that COVID was connected with the oxygen deficiency, and every now and then we kept measuring our oxygen saturation levels. So pranayama was a boon to bring back Indians. So yoga and pranayama had created a very, very, very great impact in survival of most of the Indians. Apart from that, not only in India, across the globe, in almost all countries where Indians were there, they kept propagating yogic practices and the yogic dietary habits and pranayama. I don't know how Indians predicted or had a forethought on this COVID. A few years back, a movement called Fit India, was started, wherein our Prime Minister was emphasizing at least 10,000 steps a day, at least 20 minutes of walking, or a healthy cardio-respiratory practice. So it was a movement. It was not just a practice. It was a movement in India, so that every nook and corner in India, this happened. So these are all the highlights of Indian traditional practice, in which I'm going to highlight one more, the one-stop solution which we had, that was yoga. This is our ultimate side effect-free solution to prevent, to manage. It was like a one fit all problems. It was a one fit for all problems. Those who did not undergo this COVID, those who were infected by COVID, those who were rescued from COVID, and during the rehabilitation too. So almost this was the one-stop solution which was followed in India. So all these you would have come through. Say among this, this yogic practices was propounded by Swami Patanjali, a rishi or a spiritual saint of India, and he brought out 8 important steps that every human being should follow. The social ethics, the personal practices, asanas, the physical postures, then we have to be mindful while breathing. Then we have to start introspecting, understand our own needs, understand our own like positives and negatives, our own strengths and weaknesses, that is pratyahara, submitting ourselves to the God. Then we have to improve the concentration. Then we should learn how to deconcentrate. That is, you have to concentrate, but without any attachment in the physical, physical ecstasies. Then submitting our own self to the Almighty with pure bliss as samadhi. So with the COVID realization, we have started practicing, or we have been practicing, and we have started propagating the values of yoga. So these are all the stages, like while following the social ethics submitted by same sage Patanjali. He says ahimsa, satyam, asteya, brahmacharyam, and aparigaram. Ahimsa means it is not only harming, being kind. So in this, we ruled out all the pessimisms into optimisms, all the negativities into positivities. We developed a non-possessiveness. We maintained moderation. We by donating food and other prerequisites for people who suffered during COVID. We have prevented non-stealing. After a pandemic, usually many things come up. So we prevented all this by strictly following the yogic guidelines. See, today we speak about personal hygiene, societal hygiene. We speak about COVID hygiene regulations. How many years back our sage in India has written about purity, how to clean the mind and the body, how to maintain the mind and the body clean, and how to eat, how to live happy with whatever we have. So realizing the magic in you is possible through yoga. At least we have to spend 20 to 40 minutes of activity, like of our day, in engaging in any sort of physical activity. But the best recommendation from India will be yoga. So he is sage Tirumular. who was a Tamil sage, and he has brought in all the systematic program planning years back. You know, it was thousands of years back. He had scripted it on how to inhale, how many seconds to hold, how to exhale, how many seconds we have to do an exercise, what should be the rest interval. All these things have been programmed and planned like 5,000 years ago. So here goes the yogic prescription. Every day before food, like we all have got prescription from the doctors that we have to consume this medicine before food, this medicine after food. But India, especially, I took initiative in bringing out a yogic prescription. So before food, what all practices you can do? You have to practice yoga asana, and then you have to practice concentration. The minute you wake up from the bed, that time itself, you can start practicing. Then during food, you have to ensure sattvic diet. That means a subtle, non-aggressive dietary patterns. You know, during this COVID, people enlightened us to consume a lot of vitamin C, consume a lot of water, turmeric and garlic, so that it is COVID preventive. Even post-COVID, we have to follow the same so that we habituate healthy dietary, yogic dietary practices and physical activity. Yogic prescription after food, we have to every day during the night, we can still keep writing the diary. The diary habit is actually a wonderful habit which has been in practice across various countries, you know, just to check whether we have lived up to the day in a positive, optimistic way. And practicing meditation is one essential important factor. And to boost immunity, we have to practice pranayama and meditation every day. With all these practices, it was not lockdown, my friends. It is the key to the kingdom of heaven, a new life, a true life. Yoga is not just a physical activity practice. It is a way of life. Let us enjoy the power of yogic life. These are the few references which I quoted from. So thank you all. Stay blessed and keep blessing. Habituating physical activity is a must now. Let us take it as a wake-up call to stay healthy. I am Dr. Akila from India. Thank you for this wonderful opportunity. I submit all my happiness and the blessings received after this session to my teacher, Dr. Mrs. Saravana Prabha, who had enlightened many lives across this world, and all my teachers for their future blessings too. I thank the International Association of Physical Education and Sports, who had given me this wonderful opportunity to share my ideas, thoughts, and practice to highlight the Indian and international practices on habituating physical activity. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you, Dr. S. Aquila. So, ma'am, your topic, habituating physical activity a post-COVID-19 realization, is very timely and relevant this day as we are facing this pandemic, which have caused us too much changes, not only in our everyday lives, but also in our everyday physical activities. We are all depressed of the situation and just thinking and praying for waking up next day. The different challenges you've shared, the environmental, physiological, physical, psychological, and sociological challenges are the different factors that we must take into account while facing this catastrophic event. In this juncture, ma'am, so allow me to present and read the content of the certificate. So International Association of Physical Education and Sports Incorporated, in collaboration with Physical Education Foundation of India, present this certificate of appreciation to Dr. S. Aquila for imparting her invaluable insight and expertise as a resource speaker during the conduct of this international webinar on a stronger, fairer physical activity and a sports system for all, pre- and post-COVID-19 era, organized by the International Association of Physical Education and Sports Incorporated in collaboration with Physical Education Foundation of India, given this 14th day of November via Zoom platform. So the signatories, our National Secretary of PEFI, Dr. Piyush Hain, and the president of the IAPES, Professor Dr. Jesus D. Argarin, and the chairman of the IAPES, no other than Dr. Jawalzan M. Santos. So this certificate of appreciation is hereby presented to you, Dr. S. Aquila. Congratulations and thank you so much.
Thank you. I do accept the certificate of appreciation. And finally, I also thank the moderator who has been doing a great job today. My friends from Sri Lanka, Dubai, Malaysia, Taiwan, and my teachers from India who had attended this session. Thank you, one and all.
Again, thank you, ma'am. So our members and our dignitaries for today are very thankful for having you for this webinar. Again, thank you, ma'am, and keep safe always. So to continue with our webinar, let us meet our second speaker. So he is an associate professor of Department of Physical Education and Sports Sciences, Panalal Girdharlal Dayanand Anglo-Vedic or PGDAMV College, University of Delhi. Ex-officio member, Sports Committee and Admissions Committee, the Fitness Associate at Answer Genomics, a healthcare company that uses genomic-based data to help individuals make decisions. So with a round of applause to our second speaker, Dr. P.P. Ranganathan. Good day, sir. Do I pronounce your surname correctly?
Yes, yes. Good morning and good afternoon to all of you. I am Dr. Ranganathan here. At the very onset, let me first thank the organizers to give me this opportunity to express my views in front of you, especially to Dr. M. Santos Jelson. I also extend my respectful thanks to Dr. A.K. Upal, my teacher, my mentor, my guru, everything. Now, so far, several learned speakers, Akila, Upadhyaya, etc., spoke about fitness and its needs, its importance, and during post-COVID, what to do, how to do, all these things. Very good. It's very nice to listen you all, sir. Now let me speak about the basic thing, that is walking, the basis of physical fitness. I'm going to speak today about walking. When we say about walking, we feel that walking is one of the most simplest way and it is very easy to. It is very easy to do and this is the basic. But as per biomechanical guidelines, walking is a complex activity. It involves several movements and coordination of the body. We need not go into the biomechanical aspects of these things, but still few things when we are speaking, when we say about walking, in the words of Dr. Thomas Feriden, former director of Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, one may get surprised if his or her doctor hands him or her a prescription to walk. The simple activity that you have been doing since you were about an year old or so, and now being advised as the coolest thing we have to do as a wonder drug. So the doctor also prescribes walking as a drug or medicine to you. Of course, you probably know that physical activity, including walking, is a bonus to our overall health, but walking in particular comes with a host of benefits. First, let us see some of the benefits of walking. In the new era of physical education and sports, genetics plays an important role. We determine everything in sports in relation to genetics nowadays. So walking counteracts the effects of weight promoting genes. The first thing is that so far very less heard about that walking counteracts the effects of weight-promoting genes. In a research at Harvard University, 32 obesity-promoting genes over 12,000 people to determine how much these genes actually contribute to body weight. They then discovered that among the study participants who walked briskly for an hour or more a day has got less effects of this gene. Apart from the usual causes of weight gaining, such as excessive calorie intake, less physical activity, thyroid dysfunction, etc., genetics also plays an important role in gaining body weight. What is the gene? Which gives us one of the gene in that important gene in that is that food intake gene, that is FTO. One of the most studied obesity genes is FTO, which stands for fat mass and obesity associated. Fat mass and obesity associated. This FTO seems to act as a nutrient sensor affecting the amount of food a person wants to eat and their hunger. Therefore, variations in this gene that encodes for FTO could affect the ability of FTO to regulate food intake and lower saturation. Scientists have found that people with certain variations in this gene have a higher BMI. Now, what to do for this? Increased exercise could counteract the effects of the polymorphism of this FTO. For example, the person has high incidence of FTO, yet few are obese. There are several persons with a high incidence of FTO and have fewer obese. Why? Because these persons are working regularly for more than an hour or two. Physical labor, hard labor they are doing. And due to this hard labor, physical activity, this genes remains turned off and the effect of this gene is not visible. Thus, these persons are not obese, even though they are having these genes in their body. Another thing, walking reduces the chances of cancer. One of the prominent disease in the world today is cancer, and walking prevents or reduces the chances of cancer. Again, research had found that the blends and risk of cancer can be reduced. The American Society for Cancer has studied about these things and found that persons who are used to walk an hour or so every day gets reduced chances of 14% chances risk for the cancer. Thus, walking helps us in reducing cancer. Then, walking helps us to ease the joint pains and to avoid joint pains. When we are walking, the joints get ample synovial fluid and the joints become loose and easier to move. This way, walking helps us in reducing the joint pain. Still further, when we are speaking, just Akhila also said, Dr. Akhila also said that immune system is to be improved. Immunity is an important factor. Walking boosts immune function without any external cost or any other thing. We get this immunity by walking. Walking can help us protect from cold, flu, and even the COVID-19. A study over 1,000 men and women found that those who walked at least 20 minutes a day, at least 5 days a week, had 43% fewer chances of sick, and those who exercised once in a day, 10. And if they did get sick, it was for a shorter duration and mild symptom. So walking boosts the immunity system and we fall less sick if we are participating in regular walking program. Apart from the above, we have numerous studies on different advantages one might gain from participating in walking program. Many studies examine the benefits of specific group of people such as those who are overweight or having chronic health conditions. For all those people, walking is beneficial. Apart from this, again, I'm quoting Agila's words, Dr. Agila's words, that the physiological challenges and psychological challenges we are facing. That is, strong immune system we require, efficient respiratory system we require, and certain psychological factors such as fear, depression, all these things are hunting the post-COVID. Or still, I doubt whether can we say it as post-COVID. The post-COVID is still continuing, so we may not be able to say it as post-COVID. Post-COVID for individuals, those who suffered from COVID. So the benefits range from reduced risk of many diseases and several social and improved mental advantages. Walking gives several social and improved mental advantages. When you join with your friends in the park for a walk, friends or any other person, and seeing the nature, walking in the nature, all these social and psychological effects also you are getting. Apart from these things, again, improved cardiovascular health, better bone health, decreased blood pressure, reduced risk for diabetics, health benefits, improved cholesterol level, increased longevity, decreased stress, and so on and so forth. There are several benefits for walking. There are several benefits for walking. When we speak about walking, it doesn't mean that we should walk in the park or a walking path or somewhere for a regular walk and for a particular duration, all these things. No, we can have intermittent walking also, such as getting up from your work desk and walking around during the office hours, after your lunch, or any other after a tea break, just getting up from the chair and walking around for a few minutes, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. Even this gives an added advantage. Benefits is there. Research conducted a very small study involved in 10 participants who took part in 3 trials: uninterrupted sitting, sitting with 2 minutes bout after standing for every 20 seconds, then seated in 2 minutes bout after light intensity walking. They had conducted in 3 different groups and found that those who are walking intermittently while sitting, 2 hours of sitting, then they found that those who are walking in between while their work has got better immune system, better physiological functioning, and better psychological functioning of the body. All these things are being noted that. Now let us see some, even though we said that walking is a simple activity, but still it requires certain consciousness for good walking and certain knowledge about walking also. To gain, so the basic guidelines when we are speaking about walking, to gain cardiovascular benefits or the immune benefit, etc., at a greater level, the experts recommend that at least 150 minutes of moderate walking per week. We should walk at least 150 minutes at a moderate pace per week. That breaks down to about 30 minutes per day for 5 days, or 21 to 25 minutes per day for 7 days a week. If we wish to have weight loss as our goal, then a bit more we have to do to get such benefits. The American Council for Sports Medicine recommends 200 to 300 minutes per week. That is an hour's walk almost, 50 minutes to an hour's walk almost, is good for weight loss. More physical activity may be necessary to prevent weight regain after weight loss. Again, that is there. More physical activity is required to control the weight after once you are reduced it. If weight loss or weight maintenance is your goal, seek a walk 35 to 45 minutes per day if you exercise every day. If you exercise 5 days a week, your goal should be for 50 to 60 minutes per session. The intensity is also important. Moderate intensity walk is defined as exercise that causes your heart rate to be 65 to 75% of your maximum heart rate. If you don't have a heart rate monitor, you can use a talk test. The better way to assess the intensity is to have monitoring your heart rate. There are pedometers coming and it shows that what is your heart rate, everything. If you can't afford or if you are not in a position to get such a thing, it's better you can have to monitor the intensity using a simple talk test. You should be breathing more heavily than normal when you are walking at a brisk rate. So during this time, if you can speak few words, if you can sing a song while walking, this means that you are not at all walking at a brisk pace. If you can utter few words, say something, and in between taking deep breath and speaking, then it is currently brisk walk. If you are not at all in a position to open and speak something up, then it is really very vigorous and long walk it is going. This is one factor of assessing the intensity of walk. The duration can be assessed using your time watch, that's all. Sometimes step rate is also used to determine the intensity. How many steps you are taking in a minute, that can be noted. That also can be termed as a test for intensity, how fast you are walking. For a normal to brisk walk, there should be at least 100 steps a minute. You should walk 100 steps a minute, or it takes 10 minutes to walk 1,000 steps. Very good. But if you are walking still a higher pace, that is about 130 steps per minute, then it becomes a brisk walk. And during if you are walking in a normal pace, as we said that 10 minutes for 1,000 steps, it takes around about 30 minutes to walk a 3,000 steps at a time. Now let us see that how many steps you have to walk a day. There is no prescribed rule for these things. How many steps you have to take for it. With an increased popularity of fitness trackers, that is the fitness watch and all these things, pedometers and the smart watches, several people have started tracking their daily step count to gain the health benefits of walking. Many people try to reach, sorry, many people try to reach 10,000 steps per day as the optimum. Even again, I am quoting Dr. Akila. She said that our Prime Minister has started this saying that 10,000 steps a day. Good. It is a really good feat. 10,000 steps is a day is a really good feat. But until recently, there is no substantial evidence to support this number that you should walk for 10,000 steps a day. In fact, the number was driven in a 1960s marketing campaign of a Japanese pedometer called Manpo meter. Manpo meter, and the word Manpo translates to 10,000. Thus, it was determined there is a Chinese proverb also: to remain healthy, you should have at least 10,000 steps a day. It's very good. When the Department of Health and Human Services issued their 2018 guidelines of physical activity, they addressed step count as a way to measure the physical activity level. While measuring intensity and duration have always been the good standard, health experts acknowledge that measuring steps per day is the symbol for many people. Instead of measuring the intensity and duration, you can just see the number of steps you are walking a day. In a report, they say that a typical baseline step count is about 5,000 steps a day. 5,000 steps a day, but about 80% of daily steps among less active people are light intensity. Even though we say that 5,000 steps a day, this includes all the other activities. The walking we use as our daily required work, such as getting up from the bed and going to the washroom and going to the breakfast table and this one, that one, all these things. 80% of this 5,000, as we say, that is for the such useful work we are using, not for as such walking as an exercise. And thus that 80% is with light intensity. Nobody used to generally rush to the breakfast table or to wash their hands here and there. They used to walk more, or even with lesser steps per minute. They had almost evidence suggested that increase both in the amount and intensity of physical activity above basic daily movement is needed for improved health. To have an improved health, you have to add above the basic requirement. That is almost 3,000 to 4,000 steps a day. We are regularly, every individual is walking in general. Unless until you are being recommended for a bed rest, you are doing this. But if we want to have some physiological further effect and to improve our health, you have to walk above this level. Researchers are also beginning to evaluate the step count as a way to determine the relationship between various health outcomes. In a 2020 issue of Journal of American Association, they had mentioned it as they found that walking 8,000 steps per day was associated with a 51% lower risk for death from all causes compared to walking 4,000 steps a day. If you are walking 4,000 steps a day and 8,000 steps a day, you are having, for those who are walking 8,000 steps a day, having 51% of less chance for getting sick or death due to sick. Taking 12,000 steps a day was associated with 65% lower risk compared to 4,000 steps. So if you are walking for 8,000 steps, it is 51%, whereas 12,000 steps, it is 65% chances are less. The study authors said no association between step intensity and risk death after counting a total number of steps taken. If you are going beyond this much, found they are not found. So what does it mean to us? If you are currently sedentary, you are not walking even after this post-pandemic time. You are not walking. If you are currently sedentary and measuring steps is easier for you than measuring your walking duration and intensity, then you might be start by measuring the current daily step count as the baseline. If you want to start a walking program now, start measuring your steps as the baseline, then set the goal to increase the step by 1000 to 2000 steps per day once you had attained a particular level. When you have hit the target, regular target, then increase the step by 1000 or more. That you start for walking for a 2000 steps a day. And for 2-3 weeks, you continue for these things. And once you attain that, and once you feel comfort walking 2000 steps a day, increase it to 2500 or 3000 steps. Continue it for next 2 weeks. Then again increase it till you reach the 10,000 steps average walking. Then further, what are the preconditions we should follow or we should observe before starting the walking program? That means preparing to walk. Learn what you need to do before you begin to walking program. This may include getting your medical advice. Can you walk really, or to what intensity you can walk? You don't have any heart ailment. All these things you have to check with a doctor first. Then also you have to invest on walking gears, basic walking gear like shoes, clothing, and more. You may require all these things for walking. So meeting a doctor and investing on sports gear, walking gear. The second one you have to think about is walking technique. Even though we said that walking is the simplest form of exercise, but a proper technique will add advantage to it. If you learn good walking technique, focusing on proper posture, use of arm and leg motion, it will be added advantages. Less strenuous your walking will be, less pain you will be having, and you will enjoy walking. The proper technique of walking if you are observing. Then there should be a walking schedule. Determine how often you have to walk. Determine how often you have to walk and how fast. Different types of walking areas where you are walking. Then how far to build up the level of 30 to 60 minutes per day. Till you reaches this thing, you have to concentrate on all these things. How many steps you have to take per day, then how fast you have to walk, and how often you have to walk, whether it is 5 days a week, whether it is 3 days a week or 7 days a week. This also to be determined. Then stay motivated. This is the other thing. Because self-motivation is the primary. Explore techniques to keep yourself walking and avoid common mistakes of refraining from walking. One of the best way for this is to have a walking group. If you are having a group of people walking together, then the monotonous of walking alone can be avoided. Then the next one, as we already said, that preparing for walking, we have to meet the doctor and we have to get the required walking gears. After that, the next one is determining or arranging a walking plan, schedule. Determining a walking schedule. You can use very simple schedule If you are walking every day on the same pace, on the same way, and for the same duration, it becomes monotonous. It becomes monotonous, and there are chances of losing your motivation. To avoid that, you can modify the schedule day by day, different ways you can use, different terrains you can use to walk, if possible. And this workout is best for those who don't want to push their speed and enjoy longer. Otherwise, take small walks, an hour maximum, and walk properly. Walk as per the pace you can. The following we had given a schedule for walking for a 6 day schedule we had given here. Monday, short walking, short and brisk walking about for 30 minutes, which will be followed by, if possible, a small strength workout. Walking should be followed with a small strength workout. Strength is one of the prime factor. Even Dr. Mohopadhyaya said about different types of strength and all these things. Strength is an important factor. When we are speaking about this aspect here, at the old age, that is after 60s, 70s, 80s, one of the cause of death is bedridden after a fall. Most of the older people fall during walking or during doing, several of them, and that may prove to be him in the deathbed. So why this is so? Why they are falling down? The primary reason, the first reason is they lack proper strength on their legs. Cardiovascular fitness is very important. All these things, I accept. All other qualities we discuss, everything is right. But if you try to improve your strength first slightly, other things come its own way. If you are working for strength, it will help you to improve your cardiovascular fitness also. And minimum strength is required by every individual to do his daily activities. So together with walking, at least 2 to 3 days a week, we have to go for strength practice. This doesn't mean that you have to do a weight training, heavy weight training with 50 kg dumbbells you have to use and all. This is not clear thing. Any type of strength exercises can be. Just going for holding the tree where you are walking on the park and just to go for half squat position several times. Standing and pushing the tree for the arms. All these things are also a part of strength training. This way also we can do strength training, then followed by a stretch. So on Mondays, walk for 30 minutes in a brisk pace, that is at about 130 steps per minute, and followed by certain strength exercises. Tuesday, go for a long walk. If you are having a different terrain, if you are having a seashore or such areas, walk for an hour or so in a moderate pace. Then Wednesday again, go for a brisk walk of 30 minutes. Thursday again, long walk. Friday, short walk with strength training. Here I had included only strength training for 2 days a week. And Then Saturday, it will be an easy walk. And the easy walk, in the beginning of the easy walk, you should have a slightly faster walk for the first 30 minutes, followed by, if possible, an hour's long walk. Easy and long walk on Saturday. Maybe 1.5 hour, 2 hour, whatever way you can. The pace is not at all important. Enjoy the outside beauty and walk for a longer duration. And on Sundays, if you want, you can have an off day. This can be a schedule. Alternate days you can have brisk walk, alternate you can have long walks, and on Saturday you can have a very long walk. That will be more beneficial. Now let us see what we mean by a short walk or very short walk, all these things. When we say about a short walk, whenever you are beginning your walking program, every day, the walking schedule, you can say still further, a warm-up of 3 to 5 minutes is essential. Just to walk a bit. Then shake your arms and legs, slightly stretch your arms and legs. Go for an upward stretch of the arms, then for a small rotation of the arms, legs, and all these things, and get ready for this walk. With this, you are preparing your systems, body systems, for that particular task, the walk. Brisk walk, if you are to do, before that, your respiratory and circulatory systems are to get ready for that, so that the walking becomes more easier. So for a 3 to 5 minutes, have a light warm up. Then speed up for a brisk walk of target of 30 minutes. When we are speaking about short workout, 30 minutes speed walk up. Slow to easy pace for 3 to 5 minutes after that. Once you have completed your brisk walk duration, then again 4 or 5 minutes, very light walk, that we call it as cooling down. So warming up and cooling down is an essential part of every session. Whenever you are walking outside as an exercise, this is to be done. We may not be in a position to do all these things. When I said that intermittent walking in the office, getting up after an hour or two from the chair and walk few steps, there these principles will not work. No matter, that also will help. But for still better help, this will be, or better benefit, this will be more advantageous. Have a warm up prior to your brisk walking, then have a cool down after your workout. You may want to do the general stretching routine after your warm up and after you are finishing your work. This stretching also can be done. Then when we speak about very short walking, if you don't have time for a sustained walk and find it difficult, you can have short walks of 10 to 15 minutes each session. Have 2 or 3 sessions a day. It will also be equally beneficial. Go for a brisk walk for 15 minutes and do it 2 times a day, or 10 minutes, do it for 3 times a day, whenever your time permits. 15 minutes in the morning, 15 minutes in the evening. That also will help. When we are speaking about short workout, means that is warm up for an easy pace to 3 minutes, very less warm up, then speed walk, that is brisk walk for 15 minutes, then a small, that is easy walk for another 5 minutes to 3 minutes. This will be our short walk, very short walk. This also gives the benefits of walking. Then what is long walking workout? When we are speaking about long walking workout, warm up for 5 minutes or even slightly more. but in a slow pace. Walk for an hour or so in a medium pace, if not brisk. Then another last 5 minutes for your easy walk or cooling down. Long easy walk workout. The last one I said about Saturdays when you have to do. Here again, warm up, then followed by brisk walk, then followed by a hour's easy walk. During this easy walk with your friends, you can chit chat and you can speak anything, you can do anything, you can walk. Well, this is simply you are continuing your work. That's it. So that the time you spent, you won't feel much difficulty in spending the time. With your friends, chit chat and walk together. All of you are walking together for an hour. You can talk about anything, politics or religion or this one, that one, whatever it may be. But remember that such a discussion should not make you stressed. If the topic is not of your interest, restrain from that. Otherwise, you will get tension, you may get angry, all this. So avoid that. Why we are asking you to join with your friends and speak and walk? Because the monotonous of walking alone can be avoided, especially for the long walk. But it should not cause tension or any psychological problem, sociological problem to you. You should not be get annoyed with your friends. Then, when we are speaking about strength training, again I said, strength training is a part of healthy exercise recommended for everyone to reduce health. When you are losing weight, it can help maintain and even build healthy muscles. This will help you to lose fat as well as increase your muscles. Increase your muscles. And due to this, losing fat and increasing muscles, the energy expenditure, the daily energy expenditure, the BMR, basal metabolic rate, also increases. The basal metabolic rate also increases because muscle takes more energy than fat. So reduce your fat and increase your muscle, which will increase your BMI, BMR, which will increase your basal metabolic rate. And with that, you can enjoy your food more better. Aim to include strength training workouts 2 to 3 days per week. Your short walking day or your day off of walking might be convenient to do this thing. Those who are willing to do better strength training on off days, you can do that also. There is no problem. Even you can make 2 days away from walking and concentrate more on strength training. That also is possible. No problem. After warming up, you can go for a strength training. That also is possible. All these things will give effect. But when we are speaking primarily here about walking, we will stress on daily walking, means 6 days a week at least walking, then include the strength training. Now, when we are discussing about the walking technique, when we are discussing about the walking technique, the first thing to decide about is the walking posture. I had seen several elderly people walking in the park. Not only elderly people, even youngsters also walking on with several walking defects. Not holding their head properly, not swinging their arms properly. All these things will add stress to your body. If you are not holding your head properly straight up, your neck muscles may get strained. And to avoid that very first itself, I am telling, avoid using cell phone while you are working. Avoid using cell phone while you are working, especially talking the cell phone, keeping it, or watching the cell phone. Such things. Even listening a song is not much problem. Listen a song with a earbud, it can be. There is no problem. This will not cause you to change your body posture, walking posture while walking. But looking at the cell phone or holding the cell phone in the ear, all these things may cause. So avoid this totally. When we are speaking about walking posture, posture is the first step of walking for a comfort walking and energy. Yeah. Good walking posture allows you to take a full breath, engage your core muscles, and use your leg and buttock muscles for the natural walking straight. It also an antidote to the hunching and slouching many people do at work and while using mobile phone, etc. Bad walking posture can contribute to aches and pains after walking, while great walking posture can relieve them. At the start of every walk, take few seconds to set your walking posture when you are a beginner. Or if you feel that walking posture is improper, set the walking posture first. This will give added benefit. Your energy expenditure will be optimum, but your muscles, a particular muscles will not strain too much. A normal strain for all the muscles will be there. You have to walk, proper walking. Improper walking, you will strain certain muscles more, either the back muscle, the neck muscle, or the thigh muscles, whatever it may be. So have a great posture. Step to walking posture when we are speaking, how to walk, how to take your posture. Stand upright with your feet together in a comfortable pace apart. Your toes should point forward or slightly angled. Stand tall. Imagine a string is attached from the top and your head is pulled up slightly, pulled up slightly, so that your head and your body will be straight. Do not lean forward or backward while walking, which may strain certain muscles. Don't arch back. Tuck in your stomach, abdominal muscles, engaging your core muscles. This will help maintain proper posture while walking. Maintain the natural pelvic tilt, not tipping in or out. Then focus your eyes 15 to 20 feet ahead of you. That means when you are looking straight, some 20 feet ahead, you can see. Focus your eyesight there so that your neck will remain straight, head will remain straight. Keep your chin parallel to the ground. It should not sink down. Keep your chin parallel to the ground. You probably already correct this by looking ahead at a distance of 20 feet. If you are walking with using a 20 feet distance, 25 feet distance, your chin will be straight, neither too up nor too down. Then shrug your shoulders and let them relax with your shoulders slightly back. This will help relieve the tension at your shoulders. People normally used to carry their tension on their shoulders, which can be avoided. This is the primary posture for walking. Look ahead, keep your head straight. There are several people keeping the body straight, but the head will be down while walking. What happens? You are walking for betterment, and for them, after walking, they will get neck pain or upper thoracic pain. To avoid that, look ahead always. Don't look at your phone at all, cell phone at all. If you are looking at the cell phone and walking, you have to bring your neck down, head down, and which may cause a neck pain or a back pain. Now let us see about the arm motion. What should be the arm motion? Purposeful arm motion will help to increase the speed of your walk, reduce your energy cost while walking, unnecessarily energy cost, and reduce tension. And for that, what you have to do, bend at your elbow slightly to 90 to 120 degrees. The arms should not be rigid at all, and it should not swing over your body while walking. It should straight forward. When you are walking, your right arm should move forward while your left leg moves forward. Don't make a very rigid closed fist. Keep it relaxed and closed. The rigid fist increases your blood pressure. So don't keep the arms very close or even keeping the arm very straight like this. Don't have any tension on your arms at all. Leave it free, slightly bent, close type. Swing the arm forward and backward from the shoulders, not from the elbow. Not from the elbow. So these things, bend your arms, close your fist to mild way, then with each step, the opposite arm will be moving forward. As forward foot goes back, the opposite arm goes back. Keep your elbows close. Then your forward hand should not cross the center of the body. There are people when walking, bringing the arm across the body. This should not happen. This is not the normal walking way. It should not go across your body. It should go in front of your body. It should not cross your center line at any time. This will give better advantage and less strain while walking. Now let us see about the foot motion. Again, biomechanically speaking, walking is a both leg support phase. So in this, the strike the ground first with your heel. The front foot heel will be, we are speaking about the front foot, the leading foot. When we are speaking mechanically, this is one is the swinging foot and the other one is the weight bearing foot. So the swinging foot will be strike the ground with the heel first. Roll through the step and heel to toe. Heel, ball, toe action, come to the toe. Push off with your toes and bring the back leg forward to strike again the heel. So the walking should be a heel, ball, toe action. Walking should be a heel, ball, toe action. And you should walk normally. The leg should go straight forward. There can be a slight angle between the two toes, but it should not be too much exaggerated. Too much exaggerated. The knees will bend slightly and return back to straight. Now about stride length when we are speaking, do not take a very long straight length for normal walking. The more straight length you are using, it will be more strenuous for your lower leg. Avoid taking too much big straight length. And at the end, I will be speaking one more thing. That is, we said that the heart rate should be more intensity. How to determine the intensity regarding heart rate? We said that the intensity should be 60 to 70% of your maximum heart rate. What do you mean by 60 to 70% of your maximum heart rate? How to know that what is your maximum heart rate? It's very simple. There is no much calculations in this. It is universally accepted that 220 as the theoretical heart rate of an individual. So to know your heart rate, what you have to do, first subtract your age from 220. That means if you are a person of 60 years, subtract 60 from 220, that is 160. That is 160. And if you are a person of 40 years old, subtract 40 from 220, that becomes 180. Now, after getting this one, find out your resting heart rate. Resting heart rate, while in the morning in the bed itself, you can take your pulse rate and find out. It may be round about, for general person, it may be round about 60 to 65, 70, somewhere. Even though we say it as 72 is the average, but at the morning time when you are taking, it may be around about 60 to 70, very less. Subtract that, whatever your pulse rate, resting pulse rate, subtract that one. Again, from 160, reduce another 60, that becomes 100. Now, 60% of 100 is 60. Add this resting pulse rate again to that. 60 plus 60 becomes 120. 120 beats per minute is your 60%. And 70% means 70 is the 70% of 100. And plus 60 your resting pulse rate, that becomes 130. Then 120 to 130 pulse rate per minute becomes your 60 to 70% ability of heart rate. So subtract the age from 220, then your resting heart rate, then find out the percentage, add your resting heart rate. This gives you your target heart rate. Target heart rate. So here I am saying thanks to all for giving me this opportunity. Thank you all.
Okay, so thank you, Dr. Ranganathan. So our speaker delivered his topic with the title Walking as the Basics of Physical Fitness. So based on his topic, so walking for 30 minutes a day or more on most days of the week is a great way to improve or maintain our overall health. In this time of pandemic, most of us are just sitting or lying on our bed, then eat. We are out of physical activities during the outbreak of COVID-19. So the importance of this topic presented to us by Dr. Ranganathan is a great way to improve or maintain our health because it increases cardiovascular fitness, it strengthens our bones, reduce and excess body fats, and boost our muscle power and endurance. And also the warm-up and cool-down exercises are very important to be part or to be included in our everyday routine. Again, thank you, Dr. P.P. Ranganathan, for the very informative topic. So allow me to read the content of the certificate for you, Dr. P.P. Ranganathan. So the International Association of Physical Education and Sports Incorporated, in collaboration with the Physical Education Foundation of India, present the certificate of appreciation to Dr. P.P. Ranganathan for imparting his valuable insight and expertise as resource speaker during the conduct of this international webinar on a stronger, fairer physical activity in sports system for all, the pre and post COVID-19 era. So organized by the International Association of Physical Education and Sports Incorporated in collaboration with Physical Education Foundation of India, given this 14th day of November via Zoom platform. Signatories, our National Secretary or the Secretary of the PEFI, Dr. Piyush Hain, and our very own President of the IAPES, Professor Dr. Jesus D. Argarin, and the very hardworking Chairman of the IAPES, Dr. Jewelson M. Santos. So again, this certificate of appreciation is hereby present to Dr. P.P. Ranganathan. Congratulations, sir, and thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, so to continue our webinar for today, so let us meet our third speaker. So he is a principal of the YMCA College of Physical Education, Anasalaynandanam, Chennai, a recipient Eminent Professor Award 2021 at London Tamil Academy of Language and Arts and Kurinji Kavilar Tamil Sangam. A recipient also of Best Principal Award in the year 2021, London Tamil Academy of Language and Arts and Kurinji Kavilar Tamil Sangam. No other than our third speaker, Dr. George Abraham. Good day, sir.
Good afternoon to everyone. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Thank you. Respected Chairman of International Association of Physical Education and Sports Incorporated, Professor Jefferson M. Santos, President Professor Dr. Jesus G. Argrain, and PEFI General Secretary Dr. Piyush Jain, Professor A.K. Uppal, Chief Advisor of this webinar, Dr. Kishore Mukhopadhyay, Dr. Nida Bandyopadhyay, distinguished resource persons, Dr. S. Akila, Dr. P.R. Ranganathan, Professor Tithankar Ghosh, Dr. Subrata De, other learned members, professors, resource college, and students. It's a great privilege and honor for me to be a part of this international webinar conducted by International Association of Physical Education and Sports Incorporated. First of all, I thank the organizers, especially the chairman of International Association, Dr. Jefferson M. Santos, for inviting me and given this opportunity to address you, to address my views to you. And I would like to appreciate the entire team of this organization and organizing committee, including the chief advisor of this webinar, Professor Mukhopadhyay, as well as the PEFI General Secretary Bill Jain, for your an entire team for your great effort in putting together 4 or 5 countries together to discuss about the problems of a post-COVID world. We know very well about COVID-19. No need to explain about COVID-19. We can say we are in post-COVID period because we have already taken vaccination, 2 doses, single dose or more than 2 doses. So even we have taken vaccination, we cannot relay 100% to vaccination. Nobody knows what will happen. Many people ask, guessworks are going on. This will happen, that will happen, but nobody knows what will happen tomorrow. Anyhow, we can trust our vaccination, no doubt. But during this period, we can say during COVID-19 or post-COVID-19 period, because of COVID-19, majority people started talking about physical fitness, physical capability, and what is the internal organs function because of WHO as well as national government, different national governments. Now common people know what is the importance of physical fitness, how they can improve their physical fitness, not only physical fitness, total fitness, how they can improve immunity. WHO clearly says without proper immunity, you cannot survive in the present world. For surviving in the present world, we need food as well as fitness. Not only physical fitness, we can say psychological fitness, emotional fitness, social fitness, and even spiritual fitness. So improving physical fitness, for improving total fitness, we should aware about all these things. We should start physical activity. Without physical fitness, we cannot achieve any other fitness. That is what said by the pride of India, Swami Vivekananda. I could remember his words. He said around about a century back. It goes like this: you are nearer to heaven through football than through the study of Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is the holy book of India. You are nearer to heaven through football than through the study of Bhagavad Gita. That means if you want to reach heaven, your body should be fit, your mind should be relaxed, and should have the quality of patience, love, and enthusiasm, and relaxed your body. Without having all these things, you cannot reach heaven. Entertainment, physical activity. Without proper physical fitness, we cannot achieve all these things, and you cannot reach even heaven. That is what said by Swamiji around 100 years back. Yeah. See, we know very well about physical fitness. No need to explain. How we can use our house premises to improve our physical fitness. We can use our house premises. home itself we can do some physical activity. Physical fitness, you know very well, no need to explain all these things. Fitness is an act of healthy living. Fitness is ability to meet the demands of a task. According to Indian Centers for Disease and Control Prevention, CDCP is concerned. Physical fitness is defined the ability to carry out daily tasks with vigor and alertness, without undue fatigue, and with ample energy to enjoy leisure time pursuit and respond to emergencies. This is what is defined by CDCP, Center for Disease Control and Prevention. So what a beautiful definition. You know, physical, I no need to explain physical because Chairman Sir, how much time could I take? Because we are running behind the time. Chairman Sir, how much time could I take? Hello? Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
How much time could I take?
Sir, around 40 minutes, sir.
20 minutes. Okay, okay, definitely. Actually, I prepared for 1 hour. Anyhow, I will try to finish out of 15-20 minutes. Since time is already 12:40, actually we have to finish by 12:30. Okay, right. So I'm skipping some slides. Yeah, this is what. See, in post-COVID period, you want to be fit, you don't want to join a health club or gymnasium. You can use your own house premises. In today's world, the reality of its people don't have a clear picture about the fitness and immunity. Even when we are running any program, not reach to public. So we have to conduct so many programs. I appreciate all this team, PEFI as well as this international association, then organizing a lot of programs, lot of webinar, lot of workshop to give a clear picture about immunity, how we can improve immunity, how we can improve physical fitness, total fitness. Then only we can survive in the present world, in COVID, I mean, this pandemic world. See, this is what the elements of fitness, no need to explain. Yeah, this we know very well about all these things, though I am not going to enter deeply. I'm just brushing up, warming up, cardiovascular workout, resistance training, flexibility exercise, then cool down. We have to follow these during any exercise. See, dear friends, Pilates also we can use it. A warm-up could be an easy walk outside or on a treadmill or a slow pace on a stationary bike or cycle. You can use it. The resistance portion can be as simple as a quads, a push-up or abdominal crunches, or you could work with small dumbbells, a lightweight bar, then bunch of tubbing. Many things you can use it. The Pilates exercise is also good for elasticity. Pilates is a form of low impact exercise that aims to strengthen muscles while improving postural alignment and flexibility. So we can use either Pilates or yoga asanas to improve our flexibility. That is also very important for us. So next one, getting started. I'm not going to explain much. If you are a beginner, aim for 30 minutes of cardiovascular exercise, at least 3 times a week, and 20 to 30 minutes of strength work 3 times a week. This is what prescribed by World Health Organization, WHO. Be sure your strength workout covers all major muscle groups in your upper body, lower body, and core areas, abdominal as well as back, upper back as well as lower back. And no matter what type of exercise you do, be sure to start slowly and gradually increase your workout time and intensity. Don't start with moderate intensity or high intensity. Don't start with strenuous workout. I mean, that is what many people are doing to improve their immunity all of a sudden. That is not possible. So gradually increase your intensity as well as load. And don't forget to listen to your body. Before starting any physical activity, if you are a beginner, better to consult a physician, medical practitioner. A good way to stay motivated and avoid distraction, the experts say, is to exercise easily in the day. Morning exercises are more likely to stick with their workout, according to ACSM, American College of Sports Medicine. You can choose either morning section or evening section, according to your choice. There are two components of physical activity that needs to consider. First one is for common strength, to improve your basic physical fitness. Two things are important. One for aerobic activities and we know very well about our internal organs function. As a fraternity, physical education fraternity, we studied very well. See, now because of government, local government as well as central government instructions, people that much aware about lungs function, because corona affecting lungs directly. So how we can improve lungs capacity, how we can improve lungs function, breathing problem, how we can solve breathing problems. The common people already started some exercise. As far as our fraternity is concerned, as a physical educationist, physical education scientist, we can say not only to improve our lungs function, lungs capacity, we have to improve the functions of all internal organs. Then only we can survive. Not only the capacity, not only the capacity of our lungs. So we have to start some strengthening exercise also. We have to concentrate some strengthening exercise also. So what I am trying to say, we are ignoring strengthening exercise after 30, after 40. We are concentrating only aerobic type of activities. We are concentrating only cardiorespiratory endurance, cardiovascular endurance. But we know very well the muscle strength started deterioration after 30 years, even after 20 years, 25 years. So if you are not giving strengthening exercise, little bit strengthening exercise, your muscle strength will lose. So that is also very important. So both sides, aerobic fitness as well as strength and balance. Balance after 60 or after 70, we can say even after 80 years, we could start some balancing exercise to keep our body stable. That is also very important. For I'm not going to explain about indoor as well as outdoor activities. We know very well, not only physical activities, whatever you are doing, any dance or any other program, you have to spend 30 to 45 minutes a day. Then only you can keep your fitness. Please deposit your fitness in your health bank, not financial bank. If you are depositing your health into a health bank, you can withdraw after 40 years, after 50 years, even after 80 years or 90 years. That is what is proved by Japanese people. So instead of depositing money, you can deposit your health into your health bank, your own health bank, not public bank, not government bank. So indoor activities, no need to explain. Then muscle strengthening exercise, I also already told you. can use, no need to look for any public gymnasium or a public club. You can use your house premises to improve your health. Even family members also can start these activities at your, can climb your staircase, can use your kitchen areas, and you can do some exercise with your household items. Then these are the tips for home exercise. Challenges yourself and avoid boredom. At home, you won't have the variety of equipments and available at a gymnasium. So, solve the interest is very important, and browse fitness magazine, or you can browse we can use internet, and you can download some music, and you can start exercise with background of music. Find practice with a partner. That means you can have your spouse as a partner, you can have your children, your parents, your grandparents as a partner. No need to look for any other friends. Okay, schedule your workout, have a plan. You should have a plan. Look at a planner and write out your exercise appointments on month in advance. Minimum at least 1 month in advance. You have to write. Then you have to start. Then set goal. Like training for a race or losing 10 kilo. Perhaps most important, make exercise that integral to your life as sleeping and eating. Like breakfast, exercise is very important for us. So you have to think of it as a lifestyle change. It doesn't end. Because if you are depositing some exercise every day, some fitness every day, definitely you can withdraw when you are a little bit weak, no doubt. Then important and benefits of physical activity, no need to explain. We know very well about all these things, so I'm not losing my time. Reduce blood pressure we can, weight we can manage, reduce risk of diabetes, reduce the risk of stroke, risk of certain cancers, especially colon cancer as well as breast cancer. The American College of Sports Medicine says we are having some types of cancer only because of lifestyle and food habits. Especially, I told you, breast cancer and colon cancer, we can prevent 99%. If you are a little bit aware about our physical activity as well as food habits, intake, we can prevent 100%, 99%. So these are the benefits. Reduce stress, reduce the risk of cognitive decline. When we discuss about that mental stress, you know, one result is with me. One National Crime Records Bureau of India is concerned. The death rate, the suicide rate increased 30% in 2020. Sorry, 2020. Yeah, when compared with 2019. Because of many reasons, because of stress, distress, because of distress, people are in trouble. Because of distress leads to depression. High depression may lead to suicide. Many students were committed suicide between the age of 10 and 16. You know what is the reason? They don't know, they don't have emotional qualities. They don't know how to overcome the stress. They don't know how to tackle the situation. They don't know how to overcome the situation. They're getting stress from their parents, from siblings, their teachers, from society, even from their cousins. So that leads to high depression. Many reasons are there, many reasons. Money, family problems, and not going, many reasons are there. That leads to suicide. So what is the real reason? They don't have emotional qualities. emotional stability, emotional ability, emotional capability, emotional balance, emotional agility, and even emotional intelligence. How we can have all this emotional quality? That is what is the real situation. That is what is said. Swami Vivekananda around 100 years back. You can have all these emotional qualities through entertainment, physical activities, and through real competition, sports competition, through competitive sports. You can have all these emotional qualities. Once you improve your physical fitness, you can improve your all other fitness, like emotional fitness, social fitness, mental fitness, psychological fitness, and even spiritual fitness. That is what is proved by many studies. So, okay, in children, physical activity, you know very well, this is no need to explain. Reduce risk of disease to later life. So I'm not going to explain all these things. Simple tips to success. Many people are guilty of wishing they could get a sculpted body from eating junk food and watching TV all day, or a sedentary lifestyle. They're following a sedentary lifestyle. They don't know how to break the sedentary lifestyle. Anyhow, due to this type of program, they will get some picture about the physical fitness, and they will get the clear picture how they can break the sedentary lifestyle. The first one is get off to slow start. I told you earlier, do it once or twice a week, combined with slow jog, swimming, and fast walk. Then brisk walk, past 2 or 3 rest days, at least for the first month. You have to follow it. Then second one, exercise daily. As I told you, if you are spending 30 minutes a day, definitely you can keep your body fitness, and through that you can have all other fitness. You should have some sort of moderate physical activity in your everyday life. Be sure to start hydrated, stretch, and eat food with a decent amount of protein after each workout. The protein will help keep your muscles, not fat, rebuilding. My dear friends, those are listening to me, I could say one thing. We are organizing many programs. We are good to advise other people. We are very knowledgeable people, but we are not ready to start physical activity. We are not doing physical activity. We are always
Okay, hello, good afternoon. So while waiting for Dr. Abraham, maybe he is experiencing slowing of his internet connection. So while we are waiting for him to present again in our webinar or in our meeting, so let's proceed to the next speaker first. So our next speaker is a professor, a faculty in a faculty of health and wellness, Siri University, a member in international and in, a member in International Board of Directors, International Association of Physical Education and Sports Incorporated, and also a recipient of Best in Medical Faculty Award at Maitri College of Dentistry, Dirk Chattisgarh, a recipient of Best Research Paper Award at International Ergonomics Conference, Department of Physiology, University of Calcutta, Kolkata, India. Let us welcome Dr. Tirthankar Ghosh. Good day, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. First of all, before starting my topic, I do really thank the International Association of Physical Education and Sports Chairman, Dr. Joelson Santos, and the President, Dr. Jesus, and the Secretary, PAFI, Dr. Piyush Jain, so, for organizing this webinar and giving me this platform to share some information regarding this COVID situation and how we can handle this COVID situation by performing these various physical activities, exercise, sports. So thank you once again. So let me share my screen. I think I'm audible and the screen is visible to all. Am I audible to all and the screen is visible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you. So I'm here to talk about how we can have a stronger, fairer physical activity and sports system that can give to access to the all in the pre and COVID, post-COVID era. So myself, Professor Dr. Tirthankar Ghosh, I'm presently working in Sri University. Here we have exercise, sports physiology, and occupational ergonomics lab. Exercise physiology. So before starting about my topic, I should mention one quotation from Nelson Mandela. He said that sports has the power to change the world. Yes, it can change the world. It has been proven a lot of time. And so definitely in this pandemic era, when we are going through a very severe time to the mankind, we are struggling to continue our normal activities, day-to-day activities. I feel that this phrase can be introduced to our life, and that will be definitely have some role in our normalizing our life. So this last 1.5 years or 2 years, when we all have experienced this COVID-19 virus or this pandemic, and we realize that how drastically this situation is changing our life, day-to-day life, we can say, in terms of our health, in terms of economy, in terms of lifestyle, in terms of
day-to-day activity. So the various phases we see in this last 1.5 years, we saw that a lot of precautionary guidelines been made, that a lot of different kind of vaccination process been started, but exactly the process or the medical management system has not been clear to all such practitioners. They are not having that real way to treat this disease. But mostly the commonly practice what we have found in this COVID era, that whenever we got some severity, the patient need to be hospitalized, they need to be bed rest, there will be very limited physical activity. And apart of that, lot of guidelines regarding the quarantine, social distancing, these all things been found. Now, what I can say, that way definitely we are trying to reduce this contamination because of this communicable disease. And whenever we are going for the quarantine or social distancing, maybe it will be reducing in the spreading of this disease. But side by side, we are going to experience some other complications. And what I feel that's going to affect us in near futures, or immediate effect will be there, as we have been isolating ourselves and we are reducing the physical activities that going to give a risk factors towards our immune system, respiratory system, cardiorespiratory system, musculoskeletal system, and obviously it's going to affect our nervous system also. So before myself, there are a lot of speakers. They have discussed about the various role of this exercise and what should do during this pre and post COVID era. We got that role of the yogic applications. We found that a lot of nutritional aspects require. So in my topic, I'll be concentrating on some of the physiological aspects, how it's dealing our body regarding during this COVID, and how this physical exercise or physical activities can be helping us to overcome these situations. So the questions comes, yes, how this physical activity or exercise sports can help us to protect ourselves against this COVID-19. So for that, we should know the threats or the hazards we are expecting from this COVID-19. What are the system, what are the organs can be damaged due to this type of COVID situation, and what are the physiological disturbance we can found. Then we need to know that what are the need of using this physical exercise, or how come this physical inactivity is associating with this disease. Is there any relation with this physical inactivity or isolation? This can be able to create some adverse effect or added effect on this virus outbreak, or by performing this physical activities, exercise, we can overcome this. Then the guideline is also required that even we know that the physical activity is definitely having a role on the developing the physical fitness, but is it perfect to perform during this COVID situation, or how intense activity we will be performing during this pre or post COVID era? So these all need to be considered, and I'll be trying to sum up this all information. I hope that so many participants may be feeling hungry, so I'll try to sum up my all points first. We'll go one by one point. First, if you see what are the impact of COVID-19 and during this COVID-19, whatever the physical inactivity we are adapting, how this all is going to affect our immune system. So I'm starting my points with the immune system. That's because that, so this COVID-19, the viral disease, and mostly this viral disease is destroying some of our immune system, and we're trying to boost our immune system with giving the vaccination, a lot of other supplements we're taking to build our immune system. So now we have to see, is there any effect of this physical inactivity during the COVID is going to affect on our immune system or not? Yes, it has been definitely disturbing our immune system. So the very common physiological thoughts is that when we are not exposed to the environment, we are not working, we are not acquiring the immunity. So definitely there is a chance of reducing the immunity. And to boost up our circulatory system, to boost up our immune system, and the exercise is having an enormous role. So there are a lot of evidence has been found that the moderate exercise, this is very important, the moderate exercise, if we are performing in a particular manner, in a scientific manner, that means through a training, proper training, that will be definitely going to help us or give us support to work against this type of disorders, this type of viral infections. And it's definitely increasing or improving our morbidity and mortality against this. It's helping us to work against this morbidity and mortality. But there are certain opposite information, opposite research articles also saying that in this exercise, intense exercise, that like vigorous exercise may give some poor outcome in response to this viral infection. So that means we have to very much careful, and we have to very choosy to select our exercise and the intensity of the exercise. So mostly what I am saying, see that experiments and the research also saying that if we are being exposed to a moderate exercise before like exposure to this viral disease. So if you are in a process of the moderate exercise, that will be definitely boost up our immunity. But that intensity should not be increased, or there will be another question definitely that when we are experiencing this viral disease, so in that during that viral disorder, should we continue the exercise and which intensity we should consider we should continue? That I will be discussing in later slide. But definitely there will be a role of the exercise and physical activity. So a normal practice what we were having in last 1.5 years, that isolating ourselves, minimizing the physical activity will not be a right process that can give some adverse effect. Then during this COVID-19, most of the patients, they first complain this they are having the symptoms of various shortness of breathing, respiratory complications. The pathology and other pathophysiology has been proven that lot of respiratory system disorders been observed during this type of COVID situation. And it was commonly found that during the particularly second wave of the COVID-19, most of the patients were required the mechanical ventilation support. And I can say it was in sometimes it was a very severe condition in various part of the world, and the most of the medical institutes were suffering to get the sufficient amount of ventilators, oxygen supplies. So it has been proven that this COVID-19 patients, they were having severe respiratory illness. And due to this severe respiratory illness and the dysfunction, they need to be supported by the mechanical ventilation. And obviously the oxygen supply also was required to them. So This is the emergency situation. Emergency treatment was supposed to given to these COVID patients, but now there are definitely some other effects are there for a prolonged exposure with this mechanical ventilation, and that is going to impose us some other weakness. What are the weakness? So this prolonged exposure with this mechanical ventilation, patient might have developed the respiratory muscle weakness, and there will be weakness to the other muscle like diaphragm and intercostal muscles. Atrophy will be there. Contractile dysfunctions will be there. This is normally coined as VIDD, or ventilator-induced diaphragm dysfunction. So, friends, this is another one risk when we are doing the management of COVID patients. So yes, there is these ventilators and this mechanical ventilations, oxygen supply is required to manage this emergency situation, but they will be having some adverse effect. So now, how come we can overcome this situation? And after that, those patients have been overcome from this situation, and in the post-COVID era, how we can cope up, how we can deal with this situation. So when the person's having some like inadequate respiratory muscles efficiency, how we can overcome this. So it has been in physiologically, it has been proven that so many organs, if they are been exposed to schedule or scientific training, there can be a possibility to increase the endurance. That means the exercise training can be helpful to increase the endurance. Yes, so by using that formula, what you can say that specific type of endurance exercise training should be prescribed to this type of patients, and those are not been exposed to this mechanical ventilator. For them also, we should go for this, because this type of endurance training that will be promoting the physiology of the diaphragm and other respiratory muscles. Yes, this respiratory muscles and diaphragm is having huge role of the mechanism and mechanics of respiration. And if we can able to strong enough our diaphragm and our intercostal muscles by giving this type of exercise endurance training, so that it's going to help us to overcome the post-COVID complications that need to be considered. And here the exercise and the graded exercise are very, very important. They have a huge role to overcome this post-COVID complications. So there are various protocols how we can follow these there. I'm not going in detail at this point. Like respiratory system, definitely see this COVID has have the multiple aspects, multiple effects on our body system. Most commonly, it has been focused that respiratory system, but has shown that a lot of case studies, a lot of post-mortem reports has been proven that it's not only restricted its effect on the respiratory or cardiorespiratory area. There's been an effect on our endocrinal system. It's been contributing, disturbing the GI activities. It's aggravate the other comorbidity symptoms. So a lot of other effects are there. Here I'll be talking about some of the points of the cardiovascular system. Yes, cardiovascular fitness is very important. As we know that it's regular exercise is having a proven role on the maintaining the cardiorespiratory fitness and longevity. This is the one of the very important aspects. But there are certain risk factors will be definitely there that during this COVID-19, if we are asking some the patients to go for exercise, vigorous exercise, routine exercise, that might be give some adverse effect. So again, we have to very much choosy, and we have to selective with our physical activity and exercise, even in post-COVID area or during the COVID. But definitely, those are not been exposed to this COVID and those are those are wanting to maintain the normal fitness, yes, they should have a regular exercise. And that is this COVID pandemic has shown us this, pointing our lifestyle. So most of us have been exposed to a sedentary lifestyle with a various adverse effect of having our psychological, motivational factors, how we are taking our food, our nutritional aspects, all are contributing our sedentary lifestyle, and ultimately we are exposed to a very, very risky lifestyle. So definitely, to minimize the risk factors, we should be adapting this exercise. So yes, today's topic, today's theme, that we need a healthier, we need a fit society. And already our Indian government is running a policy, the Fit India movement. Yes, that is very, very important movement. I feel that for this particular time, it is very important to adapt by all of the country, all of the people, that we should make fit ourselves before exposed to this type of disease or any future this type of pandemic. So the graded exercise or the scientific exercise we should continue, and but particularly those are exposed to the disease or the post disease condition, we should have to choose this exercise, and selectively graded exercise we have to perform this there for our cardiovascular activities. Then muscle. So I was talking about the cardiorespiratory aspects and other physiological system being affected by the COVID-19. Along with that, the first wave, during the first wave of COVID, it was shown that a lot of people were initially complaining that weakness, and I have seen a lot of patients in my hospital that they were, after even recovering from this COVID also, there was a huge muscle loss and muscle atrophy, and they were not able to, after recovering also, they were not able to work properly. So for them, how we can do? So there are a lot of therapies in our physiotherapy and other therapeutic aspects. There was a very common practice to give a graded or scientific exercise to increase the muscular health, muscular structure. So this is one of the very important aspects. And also this muscular strength is also very much important when we are trying to measure the fitness, physical fitness. So we can see this, that the cardiorespiratory and musculoskeletal system, both the systems are working together. So we cannot say that aerobic fitness or physical fitness is only because of the healthy cardiorespiratory system. No, it will be definitely require a very healthy musculoskeletal system. The cognition between this system along with the nervous system is very important. So this cognition will be declined if we are not having the proper coordination, proper physical activity, continued physical activity. So physical inactivity is one of the factors which will be reducing the cognition between these three all. So we can see from our various previous research that in our body, this muscular system and cardiorespiratory system, they are working together with the help of this energy system. The energy system is basically coming through this mitochondrial system. So this mitochondrial functions, where we can say that mitochondrial homeostasis and muscular immunity, and also this total cardiorespiratory system, the coordination, if it is not comes through a proper channel, it's not coordinated properly, so we can see a lot of failure of the systemic failure, systemic inflammations. This all can be because of the pathogenesis of the various different kind of viral disease and definitely COVID-19 is also one of the responsible factor for having this type of failure. So what we can see that whenever we are planning to have a healthy life, so along with the cardiorespiratory system, we need to be definitely make our musculoskeletal system more stronger. So there are various aspects are there. So we have seen that during this COVID-19, the various comorbidity patients are having greater threat rather than the other persons. So definitely, if you are going through a regular exercise, we can reduce the other comorbidities symptoms, like we can avoid the obesity, we can avoid the various other cardiorespiratory malfunctions, we can avoid the various metabolic risk factors, reduce the metabolic risk factors, even tissue healthiness, the anti-inflammations activity can be promoted by the exercise. So these all will be definitely give us a proper shield to work against this COVID-19. Yeah. So now the question is, can the physical fitness protect or attenuate the consequences of the infection? Yes, it's a really this very useful effect. So I think Dr. Akila was talking about the yogic implications. Yes, now today when we are talking about this sports, exercise, physiology, I want to say that we need to talk about the integrated medicine. The integrated aspects is not, we cannot deal this type of situation only with the medicine. There are a lot of aspects are there. You should have a proper nutrition, you should have a proper lifestyle, you should have a proper medication diagnosis. These all factors are working together. So these yogic interventions are very, very important and useful to maintain your normal life, and it will be maintaining the normal homeostasis to work against this type of infection that will give us the protection against this infection. So what we normally do when we are exposed to this various different kind of exercise, that exercise will be definitely increase the endurance and workability of the cardiorespiratory and musculoskeletal system, as well as it's having a huge effect in our endocrinal system and nervous system also. There are a lot of different kind of endogenous opioids or endomorphins will be secrets. This is giving a total psychological satisfaction, psychological well-being will be also aggregated, all be stimulated by this. We call it a euphoria situation. So the euphoria will significantly increase after doing a little exercise, running, even walking, stretching. These all will be having a definitely effect on our various higher centers, cortical areas, and various higher centers that will be stimulated. So that way we can say the exercise can attenuate the various different kind of protective symptoms which can be work along with our psychosomatic injuries and psychosomatic well-being. Like if you are mentally well and if you are mentally strong, so it will be having a definite much more protections to work against this type of disorder. This point was so many times was come in front of us when we were working against this COVID. So there was an aspect that we have to take the protection, we have to maintain the social distancing, medications. I have mentioned about the ventilator, but along with that, we have found a lot of patients who are mentally depressed, they are traumatized, they were not willing to fight against this COVID. And we have found a lot of medical practitioners, a lot of healthcare supporters who are giving joy, giving courage to these patients to overcome this mental disappointment. So yes, so this exercise is also one of the way we can increase the mental health. It can allow the person to overcome the depression, the various other psychosomatic symptoms. We can work against this. Definitely, it's been proven that it has effect on some other neural disease, but in this particular condition, in this type of viral pandemic, also this mental health is need to be maintained properly, and exercise is one of the very much important therapeutic aspects which can maintain the mental situation. Then is another one questions come this physical activity or exercise. How we'll be doing this during this pandemic, pre and post era. So impact of this physical exercise, physical activity exercise is very useful. It is in medical science has proven this, particularly in non-communicable disease, it was very much useful. It's helping to increase our immune system, giving a lot of other facilities to defend our body to work against this various different kind of disease. But definitely for this particular situation, we have to reinvent, or we have to select the exercise pattern perfectly, because what we have found that already our lifestyle, already so many like complications, like if you take the IT workers, they have been coming, being an ergonomist, whenever I'm going to this IT sector, I found that they are already using this isolated working habit. They're already maintaining this quarantine patterns, because the IT workers, they are working at night, they don't have a proper working schedule. So on top of that, on the particular this particular disorder, this particular pandemic situation, we are getting this type of social distancing, physical inactivities imposed to us. Definitely, they are going to increase the other risk factors. This poor lifestyle, behavioral, and nutritional aspects going to give more risk factors which can incorporate with the COVID, and it can increase the effect of the COVID-19. So that's why for that, during this particular period, WHO is also recommending the various recommendations they're giving to this. Those are particularly in isolated, and those are particularly not involved in the various physical activity. For them, WHO is also prescribing that they should be go for at least 150 minutes moderate intensity or 75 minutes vigorous intensity physical activity during their working condition. It can be a combination also. Then muscle strengthening activities is also required to increase our muscle strength, and this can be recommended for 2 or more days per week. And particularly for the adolescents and children, also there are some recommendations are there. They can work for at least 60 minutes per day. That can be a little bit of moderate intensity also. This can be prescribed in the pre and post era also. Now the question is, another question is, when we are directly experiencing this type of COVID disorders, like someone has been experienced to the body ache, fever, and flu or headache and other symptoms have been observed. So that time, particularly that time, the person should be continuing the exercise or physical activity. No, this is the break point we have to identify. So we should take a break from the physical activity and exercise for the particular few days, and that should be very important. And instead of what I will suggest, that instead of going for a particular protocol, we should leave this initiation, this starting of a physical exercise or physical activity on our body itself. So body should respond, and body should choose that when we can expose ourselves with the exercise or physical activity. And definitely there is a need of regular exercise pre-condition and post-condition to recover from the post symptoms and post complications. We should continue a proper and scientific methods to overcome this type of post-COVID complications. So these are the broad ideas what I feel to adapt to have a very healthy and fair life through this exercise, sports, and physical activity. So thank you all. This is just a last schematic diagram. We can see here the COVID-19, how it is imposing us the immobilization, the isolation, and that cause us various awful effect like inflammations, antioxidant deficiency. People are going away from the normal physical activity that's dropped down our various psycho and somatic functions. Immune system is dropped down. So to overcome that, definitely the exercise and physical activity is very important. That will be definitely increasing our overall protection, overall immunity, overall endurance, immune system, neurological aspects, psychological aspects will be boosted up by this exercise. And that way, definitely we can overcome this COVID situation. But definitely along with the other precautionary aspects are required, we have to go through the precautionary aspects. We have to have the vaccination. Along with that, this is again, I'm saying the integrated approach is very important. Integrated approach is very important. And through this integrated approach, we can fight together and we can live together. Thank you all. This is the aerial view of my university, one part. And thank you all. I am coming from a university which has been blessed by Sri Ravi Shankar. He is also one of the yogic guru of India and throughout the world. He has invented a lot of different pranayama and different kriya, so meditations. So that's throughout the COVID time, we have been educating to the society with his directions. And definitely I can say these kriya meditations are helping people to overcome from this psychological and physiological distress. Thank you again. Thank you to the Iapes organizing committee to bring this type of workshop and webinar. And definitely this will be increasing the awareness and practice among the society. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Tirthankar Ghosh, for your very informative topics that you have shared to us. So you have mentioned and you have included in your presentation about the quotation by Nelson Mandela that sport has the power to change the world. So it is very evident and true where if we are all physically fit, we can do the different tasks that are assigned to us correctly and accurately, and with the consent of our mind perfectly. COVID-19 have changed our mindset. In order for us to live in a world of peace, at peace, we must start calibrating ourselves during the outbreak of COVID-19, which is physical activities is one of the silver lining in our daily routine. Again, thank you, sir, for your very informative topic that you have shared. So allow me to read the content of the certificate presented by the IAPES, International Association of Physical Education and Sports Incorporated, and in collaboration with the Physical Education Foundation of India, present the certificate of appreciation to Professor Dr. Tirthankar Ghosh for imparting his valuable insight and expertise as resource speaker during the conduct of international webinar on a stronger, fairer physical activity in a sports system for all, pre and post COVID-19 era. Organized by the International Association of Physical Education and Sports Incorporated in collaboration with Physical Education Foundation of India, given this 14th day of November via Zoom platform. The signatories are Dr. Piyush Hain, the National Secretary of PEFI, and Professor Dr. Jesus D. Argarin, the President of IAPES, and Chairman of IAPES, no other than Dr. Jewelson M. Santos. So this certificate of appreciation is presented to Dr. Tirthankar Ghosh. Again, thank you very much.
Thank you all. Thank you.
Okay, so this webinar is a very timely and relevant to this day because of this pandemic that we are facing nowadays. So for the open forum, for your questions, you can just type your questions in our chat box or mute your microphone for you to deliver your question to our respected speakers. Okay, to have our open forum, may I call in the Executive Secretary of IAPES, no other than Mr. Mark Anthony R. Dalipe. Good day, sir.
Hello, sir. Good afternoon. Am I audible, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you so much. And thank you so much to our moderator today, Mr. Limbel O. Abilianida Jr. for that. And once again, our heartfelt gratitude to our highly distinguished and competent speakers for today's international webinar, Dr. S. Aquila, for her habituating physical activity, a post-COVID-19 realization, Dr. Ranganathan for walking as the basics of physical fitness, Dr. George Abraham for home fitness hits the reset button, a deep drive into fitness in the post-COVID-19 world, and Dr. Tentang Kargosh of Sri Sri University. Thank you so much to everyone, and we are all grateful of your presence and the wisdom you have instilled and unselfishly shared to all of us. Such a great honor for having you all. And of course, to initiate and accommodate concerns and inquiries of our dear participants and members of IEPS community, let's have an open forum with the first question addressed to Dr. Aquila. And the first question is, what are the benefits of Surya Namaskar or the ultimate asana to those who are doing the activity? Again, Dr. Aquila, what are the benefits of Surya Namaskar, the ultimate asana, to those who are doing the activity? Hello? Is Dr. Aquila around? Yes, ma'am. Hello, Sir Limwell. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, so yes, Dr. Aquila, this question is addressed to Dr. Aquila.
Actually, is not answering already. Question, sorry. Okay, Dr. Aquila, please questions in regards to Dr.
Sir Limwell?
Sir, let's proceed to the next question po.
Okay, so the next question is again addressed to Dr. Aquila, but if okay.
Excuse
So
me.
Dr. Aquila is requesting to
Hi.
yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Ma'am, you're
Now
audible.
enabled. I wasn't able to unmute. I'm sorry for that. And your question was, how does Surya Namaskar help? Can you please come again?
Yes, Dr. Aquila, the first question to you is, what are the benefits of Surya Namaskar to those who are doing the activity?
Yeah, Surya Namaskar
Yes, ma'am.
is actually a sequence which has been planned dynamically. Usually, yoga resembles the static stretch method, But then Surya Namaskar is a combined form of 12 to 13 exercises together. So this dynamism helps in regenerating the whole body. With one protocol, you can just regenerate the whole body as well as mind. It is such an excellent practice, and there was in the recent past there was a challenge for doing 108 Surya Namaskars together by celebrities. So it is such an efficient one. It fine tunes the brain. It activates the mental alertness and the cognitive ability. That is the important benefit of Surya Namaskar. May I know the second question, please?
Yes, ma'am. The second and last question to you, ma'am, is there any special regimen of exercise, diet, and pranayama for post-COVID management? Again, ma'am, is there any special regimen of exercise, diet, and pranayama for post-COVID management?
Yes, the Ministry of Ayush, that is Ayurveda, Yoga, Unani, Siddha, and Homeopathy. There is a ministry in India which has prescribed yogic packages and pranayama in their website. That is a do-along protocol. You can just follow the video and do it along. That is a standardized program by a lot of researchers and saints and scientists all together. And if you ask me which one is the best for, according to me, I would suggest this Ujjayi breathing, mindful breathing practice, which enables us to utilize the maximum space in the lungs. We all know that we have the alveoli inside our lungs, and if we cut open the lungs and spread out all the alveoli, the area which can be covered by the spread of the alveoli will be equal to a tennis court. This is what we have learned. But then, are we really utilizing the fullest capacities of the alveoli and lungs? If that is the question, the answer is no. So this pranayama helps us to increase the span of utilizing these alveoli. So mindful breathing, Ujjayi breathing is best practice which I suggest.
Thank you so much once again. Yes, Dr. Akila. Thank you so much, ma'am. And I think the last question is addressed to Dr. Tirthankar Ghosh. Doc, the question is, can we supplement cycling with walking workouts? Again, Dr. Ghosh, can we supplement cycling with walking workouts?
Hello. Can I have the question one more, please?
Yeah, yes, Dr. Ghosh. Can we supplement cycling with walking workouts?
Yeah. See, these are the practice depends on your availability. In our exercise and sports physiology, and along with our ergonomics, what we suggest that our body is an individual identity. So, like similarly, when you are exposed to a particular environment, it's having a lot of other complications. So what do you want to do? You want to just have a normal cardiorespiratory exercise or frequent exercise. So that depends on you. Now, what you are saying during your work, you can want to have a single cycling, small cycling, that will be having definitely your cardiorespiratory booster. But if you just want to do our stretching, you want to do endurance, that will be require some other exercise. So what you want, so that is need to be identified first. And definitely in between work, we can do a lot of exercise, like not require a cycling. Even you are sitting for a prolonged time, you just have some stretching exercise. You just take away your visual context with your computer screen, and you can just do some stretching exercise for your eyeballs also. So what is your requirement? According to that, we have to set the exercise.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Tirthankar Ghosh. And once again, thank you so much to our dear participants for their inquiries, and of course, to our 4 competent speakers today. So all the learning that you shared and the challenges left are well taken care of, and it will certainly be applied and set into practice. And as we end with our open forum session, do not always forget to exercise as you go home or at your work, because exercise is one of the most frequently prescribed therapies in both health and diseases. And once again, thank you so much, everyone. All right, back to you, Sir Limwell.
Okay, thank you, Sir Mark Anthony R. Dalipe. Okay, so to continue our webinar and our program, so thank you, our dear speakers, for answering the different questions given to you by our participants. And to have our concluding speech or concluding address, let us have Mr. Sobrata Day, a member of the International Advisory Board of International Association of Physical Education and Sports. Good day, sir.
Hello. Am I audible? Could you please hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Thank you, Limwell. Very good evening. Good afternoon. As you know, it's been pleasure to me here with all of us. From morning, we have started this webinar since it's 3.5 hours. I really appreciate all the participants for being with us. And it's been indeed a pleasure for me to be a part of this webinar. Respected, Chairman of Iapes, PEFI, National Secretary, all the board members of Iapes and entire family. First, before going to my main concluding speech, I would like to thank to all the participants, because they are the backbone of this webinar. And moving on to the next step, I should thank to all the respected reputed speaker. Starting from, as you know, today we have started our technical sessions with 4 different areas and their respective talk. So first coming, Dr. S. Akila, Madam, she has given a nice talk on different aspect of particular area, like habituating that physical activity, post COVID-19 realizations. Under her talk, she has nicely mentioned some of the points, like what are the different benefits, what are the different activities that could be performed during this COVID pandemic era. And also she has pointed out different demerits and merits of get adapted with physical activity. Most importantly, she has pointed out some of the research-based evidence, like one of the articles she presented that was very interesting, particularly predominantly it was related to New Zealand. And also she also mentioned that indigenous practices like yoga, pranayama, that can be made available. We can make our right now like a practice to maintain this kind of thing. So I really thank Madam Dr. Akila for her nice presentation. I hope all the participants have enjoyed the session. Moving on to the next session, Dr. P.P. Ranganathan sir. Sir has mentioned one of the important and very simple thing that we can do. That is not necessary any equipment or any kind of skills. Very simple thing, that is walking. He has mentioned the different dimensions of walking, like biomechanical point of view, what kind of walking that we can do in general life. And also some extent he has mentioned about some effect, the role of genes in walking, the role of different genes in terms of like different systems and the genes responsible for their adaptability. Also, he has mentioned some research dimensions related to genes, like FTO genes he has mentioned related to the food intake and their impact. Also, in added, what are the advantages of walking? What could be the ideal walking duration for making healthier life? As you know, this COVID pandemic has given a lot of education in terms of we got a lot of things that nothing is beyond that their what I can say, environment and nature. Whatever the science we have, yes, it is there, but sometimes we have to, go back to our ancient practices. So definitely, I think this 2 lectures initially followed by other lectures, it has given a great impact. Our participant will make this practice not like a theoretical aspect. Definitely, it could be a part of our daily life, so that we can make this healthier in our professional as well as our daily life perspective. Moving on to the next speaker, Professor Dr. Abraham sir. Sir has given a nice topic, and unfortunately couldn't get the conclusion from his lecture due to internet connectivity. Still, what we have come to know that home exercises, it could be aerobic, it could be anaerobic, or any kind of activity that we can easily perform in our home. I have seen one of the beautiful picture there, baby girl, how she hold, that rack. So this kind of simple thing that we can do, that is not so much, effort you have to put. So these are the things I think we should make to ourselves daily life practices, so that we can get more benefits, because healthy life, healthy living, as well as taking good healthy foods. So this is one of the important things that we must have to understand. So I hope Dr. Abraham sir has mentioned very nicely and lucidly the impact of different exercises and what could be the ideal exercises timing in terms of intensity, volume, and all the things. So moving on to the last speaker, Professor Jitankar Ghosh sir. Sir has mentioned very scientifically the impact of different systemic adaptations, particularly different physiological point of view, like starting from cardiovascular adaptations. What are the different changes? And all the things related to COVID-19, it's mostly its impact is like respiratory systems and their compliances, like cardiovascular, like muscular. So how we can avoid these things through some good exercises, through amount of exercises like physical activity and different, mild to moderate activities. Sir has mentioned very nicely about the different importance of CRF, cardiorespiratory fitness, how we can enhance this through this particular period. So I hope, again, I'm repeating that all the participants, including all the board members, we have learned a lot of things. So the second point are this, technical sessions that we can learn. We can make this as a practice in our daily life. So then we will get some of the benefits. So before ending my concluding speech, I really, on behalf of Iapes and PEFI family, I really appreciate all the participants as well as our eminent speakers for taking part and sharing their important areas of experiences, their suggestions, and beautifully all the topic they have presented. It's really appreciated. Thanks a lot, all the speakers, for joining with us and sparing your valuable times with our participant. And last but not the least, let's come together and we are on the process of fighting this COVID-19. It's not end, maybe another waves may come, so we must have to be alert. Vaccinations, this is one of the major steps that we are already in the process. So apart from that, make the habit of physical fitness. That's the main theme of this webinar today. So thank you once again. Thanks a lot. Over to you.
Okay, thank you, Sir Sobrato Day, for your concluding speech. So next, to deliver our vote of thanks, may I call in Dr. Gina Tugade Astillero, the Assistant Secretary of IAPES.
All right, thank you, Sir Lemuel. We all know that COVID-19 has impacted every aspect of our lives, including where and how we can take part in sport and physical activity. The impacts have been unequal, and some of us are finding it more difficult than others to stay active. This is widening health gaps and a time when staying active is more important than ever for our mental and physical well-being. This afternoon, it is my great honor and privilege to thank all the people who made this event a successful and fruitful one. On behalf of the IAPES Incorporated family, I, Dr. Gina T. Astillero, would like to express my great appreciation and hearty thanks to the following. Foremost, to God Almighty, the source of everything, the author of all write-ups, who bestowed upon us the wisdom, knowledge, and attentiveness to focus and learn something from inputs of today's resource persons. The International Association of Physical Education and Sports Incorporated, officers and members, and the PEFI team, IAPES Thailand, hats off to all the efforts. Thank you very much to our very own chairman of the IAPES Incorporated, Associate Professor Dr. Jewelson M. Santos, for being the overseer of the events and for his very accommodating gestures every time we needed his assistance. Your inaugural speech always provided us the positivity to become responsible in our assigned tasks. Same appreciation goes to Professor Dr. Jesus D. Argarin, the IAPES Incorporated President, for his welcome address. Thank you, Doc Jess, for being so humble in facilitating the organization. Thank you, Dr. Pius Ian, the National Secretary of Physical Education Foundation of India, for your introductory address. The messages of Dr. A.K. Upal, the working president of PEFI, Associate Professor Dr. Kishore Mukhopadhyay, the Chief Advisor President of IAPES Incorporated, and Dr. Nita Badiopadhyay, Member International Board of Directors, IAPES Incorporated, provided each one of us the resiliency in dealing with our chosen profession. Thank you so much for the generosity of our resource speakers in providing us insights on the topic for this very important event. More knowledge be upon you, Dr. S. Aquila, Dr. Ranganathan, Dr. Gosh. No? So we learned a lot from you all. A million thanks also to Sir Mark Anthony R. Dalipe, the ever humble and brilliant Executive Secretary of IAPES Incorporated, for facilitating the open forum. Thanks a bunch, Mr. Subrata Day, Member, International Advisory Board, IAPES Incorporated, for the concise yet substantial concluding speech. And of course, to Mr. Limuel O. Abellanida Jr. for serving as our moderator for today's event. To the active participants from different areas of the globe of today's webinar, thank you ever so much. Indeed, it was a great session for us all, for we had our own key takeaways from our brilliant speakers. Have a blessed Sunday, everyone, and may God bless us all. Thank you very much. Back to you, Sir Lemuel.